Welcome to episode 178 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. I'm Ryan Walton. Today I'm joined by Dan Reamer and the milk to my double stuffed Oreos, Matt Bowden.
Thanks.
Don't like double stuffed. Don't like double stuffed.
If it's
listen, I wanted to call
the original
myself
Oreo.
double stuffed.
Nope. Nah, if it's not the original Oreo, you throw it away.
You're right.
I actually like the thins.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I would prefer to have no cream.
Have
Like
you
the
tried
ones-
the thins?
Like the ones,
I
is
didn't
that the
know
ones
the
that
thin
come
existed.
in the little package?
Yeah, they're like really super thin.
Yeah.
The
Same
cookie's
amount of cookie, but less cream?
No, the cookie's like thin too.
No, I don't want that. I want the same amount of cookie, but no cream.
The proportions are the same if you cut them in half, I think.
No, regular Oreos are the best because they have that ratio perfect.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they
they
keep the
really-
ratio
they
the
kinda
same
nailed
on the
it.
slim.
Yeah, but it's not.
Just-
I don't. The cookie's too thin.
Oh, I like it. You
I like-
give
I
that
like
thing
my-
two dunks.
I like
Two
a
quick
little,
dunks.
Nah, I like a little bit of girth to my Oreo,
Bam,
Yeah, see,
bam,
and I
right
like-
in the mouth.
to my cookie.
I like my Oreos really soggy, too, so...
No, sir. I don't like anything soggy.
That's
No,
not true.
Fucking weirdo.
I hate soggy things.
Mm-hmm.
Bread, cereal, fuck it, throw it out.
I like soggy cereal.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
can't even watch people eat soggy cereal. I like start to gag.
I know that's why you have a special bowl. We've been over this.
It's just like
Yeah.
you're just eating like mush.
It's not.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's,
not.
it's the consistency
It's
of
like
vomit.
oatmeal. It's almost like turning into cold oatmeal.
Yeah, dude, you don't like instant
It's not
oats?
like that at all.
It's,
And no, I'm not eating cold oatmeal ever. That's not a thing I'm gonna do either.
You don't have to eat it cold, but it's the same consistency.
right.
No, it's not. It's soupy and gross. It's slush.
Cereal
I like a
oatmeal.
firm oatmeal.
Isn't it weird? Can one form of food really be called another form of food?
Mm.
You
I
know,
don't think so.
because wouldn't what cereal just be cereally? Can it really be soupy? Because that's completely something different.
Right,
could be
soup's,
oatmeal-y,
soup's
apparently.
another wet food.
You know, that's like saying, you cook up a steak, you're like, wow, this is really chickeny.
Yeah, I think you could say that.
I don't think you
Well,
can.
I mean, chicken fried steak.
It has to be something where you understand what they're comparing it, like how they're comparing it. Soupy, you're saying it's runny. It's kind of thin.
But not all soups are thin.
Ones I'm talking
Yeah.
about are.
All soups are water-based.
Yeah, they're thinny.
Yeah, they're thin.
Because if
What
it gets too
I don't
thick,
know.
it's a stew.
What
If
about
it's- yeah,
what about a
if
good
it's-
baked potato soup?
It's still soup. It's still kind of
It's
runny.
not super
yeah,
runny.
still soup. I would say like a potato soup is more of a bisque anyway because it's more cream than it is broth.
Yeah, I suppose.
And where does the chowder fall?
I don't know.
That's a bisque.
It's a
Or,
bisque.
well, I guess it's a chowder, which is
Or is
the
it just a
next
chowder,
step
right?
from a bisque. Like, so there's soups which are broth based, and then there are bisques which are cream based,
Cream-based.
and then there are chowders which are like firm cream, and then there are stews which are
More
stock
favorite.
based.
stock based, yes.
Which are my
Yeah.
favorite.
Stews? You like stews?
Yeah, I love a good stew.
I like
yeah.
a good
I
stew.
do too.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I like stew too.
Also, just a guy named Stu. I think it's a good,
Yeah,
solid
that's a
name
fine
to
name
have.
too.
But is it
or
spelled?
lady named
but
Stu.
is
We
it,
don't just.
But is it spelled like stew, or is it spelled short for Stuart, which can be spelled?
No, it's spelled like
S-T-U?
beef stew.
That's how you got it.
Either
That's
way.
okay.
Right. There's
I don't
something. There's something refreshing about a stew every now and then.
Well, it depends. So what
Like, I don't
constitutes
want it-
chili?
I don't want it daily, but like I just every now and then I just like a good stew.
Mm-hmm.
Is the chili technically considered a stew?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
'cause
I
I'm a
think
big
when I
chili
say
fan.
stew, I don't mean chili.
No, when I say chili,
I don't mean
chili.
stew.
Right. But I
Right,
think
exactly.
I think it is a stew though.
Okay.
Yeah, if you had to put it in a column, it goes in the stew column.
Yeah, meat and bean
Look at
stew.
this. Why do we have to put everything in a box?
I mean, you don't have to.
Well,
Why
Welcome to
why
America.
can't I just have a nice, thick chili soup?
Because it's not a goddamn thing. That's why.
I mean, I have
The main
had some
reason you
chilies
can't
that are
is
soupy.
it's not what it is. So you wouldn't know it by listening, but this is actually a special episode. We're going to talk about E3 stuff, predictions, things we might or might not see. And then at the end of this prediction show, we're going to talk some Uncharted 4 spoilers.
Yes.
You will have clear direction on when it's coming. You'll know. We'll say guard your ears, shut this
You
thing
will.
off, muff it, whatever you want to hear.
And if you fail to follow instructions, and then complain that you failed to follow instructions, I am going to bring down the bolts of Zeus upon you.
Right. I'm just going to ignore you, but Dan will get in communication with you somehow.
I will, and it will not be nice. Twitter will ban me forever.
So at the end of the show, we'll kind of close up as normal, and then we're going to jump right into our Uncharted 4 story talk. It won't be very long, 15, 20 minutes probably. We're just going to talk about how the story ended and what we thought. It's a nice little agenda for the show today.
Yeah, E3, that's a big deal, I guess.
Yeah, format's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
Because we're not so worried about news. Next week when we record, E3 will be upon us, so it didn't give you time to get your ears wet and listen to this. So we decided to do it this week. Anybody play anything different before we start?
Well, no, not really, but kind of. Was the last podcast where I bought Downwell on the show?
Yeah, right in the middle of the
before that.
podcast, which is...
Yeah, I finally opened it up and started playing it.
It really shows off your priorities there, pal.
Here's the thing, though. Here's why I'm going to allow it. Because it's based off my suggestion.
Right.
So I'm going to allow this one.
Okay. I mean, I think it's okay if we're recommending a game. I think it really shows off to the listeners.
I strike out a lot with my recommendations.
Yeah, you like some shit games.
So when I can actually find one and it be successful, I like to revisit it on the next podcast and talk about it.
What was that weird one you recommended to me?
L.A. Noire?
On the PS...
Garbage game.
No. It was on the PS3. It was a downloadable game.
Naughty Bear. Garbage game.
The dude controlled like a fucking puppet. And it was you were sitting in a chair. You were sitting in a chair or something, and shit was falling down around you, and it was weird Japanese music.
Was it detuned?
I can't remember, but it sucked.
God,
it was so bad.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I think afterwards you ended up telling me you recommended it to me because it sucked, which made you suck.
Well, if something sucks so bad that it's interesting, I could totally see me doing that. Whatever that game was, I stand behind that suggestion.
Oh, okay.
Whatever that was.
Yeah,
right.
You would, piece of shit.
So, I talked about Downwell a little bit. You tell me about it.
I mean, it's what you said it was.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on
it? It's that, for me, it's got its hooks in me the way that Rocket League has you. It takes 5 minutes to play, 2 or 3 levels of it, and it's just repetitive and fun. I don't know. It's just, there's something about it that reminds me of how games were when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. That idea of like Ninja Gaiden is one game that I think of. Mega Man's another. Like that idea that you play the first level over and over and over, because as a kid you don't understand that there's an end to the game. You're just playing it. Downwell gives me that feeling of like, I mean, I may never make it past the second level.
Yeah, sure.
But that's how I remember playing games when I was a kid. You play the first level, you die, you turn it off, you come back, and you like. I never knew that some of these games had more levels than the first couple.
I think that game's interesting, but as good as it is on PS4, I love it on the Vita.
Yeah,
it would be a great Vita title.
Yeah, it's really good.
We're leaving for vacation as everybody's listening to this tomorrow. We're leaving for vacation, and like the middle of last week, for the first time in my life, I think I said to you, man, it'd be great to have a Vita.
Yeah, you did say that.
Really?
I saved that text.
Yeah, and I was shopping for one when I sent you that, because it's layover city for us. We're flying into Chicago for like a 3-hour layover, and then we land in New York. And then on the way home, I think we have another like really big layover between Pittsburgh and Nashville. So it'd be great to have something to play, especially on all those flights.
Yeah, and just, everything that you already have that's crossed by, you wouldn't even have to buy any games.
Right.
Yeah. The problem is that this is the only time I've ever thought I would need a Vita, and it's as soon as vacation's over, I'm not going to think I need one ever again after that.
I don't think that's true.
I do.
This is the Vita's year.
Is it?
No.
It's last year. That's what it is.
No, it's not. They're not going to kill it. They're just not going to support it.
Yeah. There's new stuff coming out.
Don't let that bitch bleed out for the next 3-4 years.
Right. Yeah, I did that, and then we kept talking about Last of Us, so I played a little bit of Last of Us again.
Did you? How did you feel to get back to it?
Yeah, it's still good, but it's got the Naughty Dog curse of you can only play it once.
So here's the thing: is knowing how it's going to end, does that affect your enjoyment of playing through it again?
Yeah,
okay.
It's every moment that you had that was special when you played it the first time
can't be there again.
Right, it's scripted. Like the whole game is scripted. Every word, every step you take is written for you. You're controlling. The sense of control that you have in that game is an illusion. You are just as well to watch it play itself automatically, right? Because the only thing that makes it a trial and error are these encounters that you have with the infected people. Right. So if you happen to die or set them off in a way you didn't plan, that doesn't affect anything else in the game.
Right.
So as I'm playing it, that's the only thing I have to look forward to is like the what ifs of the encounters. But the story, I know it already. I played it 3 times to get the platinum on the PS3, so it's just as great of a game as it is, it just doesn't, that replayability is not there. I think that's a problem with most Naughty Dog titles. Yeah, Uncharted 2 and 3 had the same problem. There's no reason to play them more than twice.
I almost feel like maybe, well, because I only played through it once, and I want to go back to it, and I'm feeling like I'm hoping that enough time has passed where there are parts that I have forgotten. Now, there are some amazing parts, like the giraffes are fucking amazing.
Right.
I still remember that part, and it was just like, oh,
it only gets to be amazing that one time, you know?
Right. I get that, and I want to play through it again, but I was afraid that was how my reaction would be when I started playing it again.
Yeah, and it had been, the last time I played it before this time I started was July 29th, 2014. So it almost been 2 whole years since I played the game.
Okay.
And I really thought that, and when I played it in that July, that was when it came out on PS4. That was my save file from when the remaster came out.
Now here's something else I was thinking. Does Sam in Uncharted 4 look an awful lot like fucking what's-his-face's brother?
Yeah, a little bit. Not really in the face. Yeah, not really in the face.
He's got
but
like
kind
the
of
same hair though, right?
Yeah, he does, yeah. And they dress the same way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it just, like the giraffes are a great example in The Last of Us of that when you're playing it for the first time, and sorry, Ryan, if you haven't finished it by now, fuck you. That everything fucking sucks up until that point, and you've had this thought for hours that like there's no way anybody's coming out of this alive, and then you get this little sunshine and giraffes thing, and it like made that 20 or so seconds of that game seem like this huge, it was this thing that happened. It was this big deal. It was one of those moments that made the game.
That actually might be, for me, one of the greatest moments and singular moments in any game ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd put it right up there in the top 5 like best moments of video game history.
Yeah.
But you can never have that feeling of that first time again, and that's so I don't think I'm going to be able to finish The Last of Us again as much as I want to. I'll try, but if I make it through to the end, it'll be the last time I ever play the game. So, I don't know. That's
Ryan, did you play anything different?
Nope. Kept it real.
All the same old standards?
Kept it real.
Yep, kept it real.
The only thing I played different was a couple months ago. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Garrett Wade. Was it?
Doesn't matter. Shout out to Garrett Wade, though.
Well, whoever it was recommended Oxenfree. At the time, it was only available on PC, but it came out on PS4 this week, so I bought it, and I have begun playing that game. And it is definitely what I look for in a game. Very, very, very dialogue-based.
Yeah, it seems like your kind of game.
And it changes. It can change. It can give you multiple endings. It can change your relationships with people. Which that's what I like. I like choices in games that affect relationships and what the conversations you have with people and things like that. I like it when you have the dialogue options, and the dialogue options actually have an effect on something that happens in the game. That's why I thought, while Uncharted 4s were cool to listen to, they were a little useless because they changed absolutely nothing. And Oxenfree changes a lot. And it's creepy, but not scary. But it's very creepy, and it just has enough of a creep factor to keep you wanting to play, wondering what the hell is going on. So, right now I'm... Go ahead.
It looked very like Scooby-Doo to me. Like that group of kids like going into like a abandoned mystery kind of setting.
Yeah, kind of, to a point. I don't like the one guy fucking passed out by the fire because he took too much fucking shrooms.
Hell yeah, he did.
Sounds just like Scooby-Doo.
Overdosed on shrooms.
So, but it's got different, very much in this Until Dawn sense, it's got all the different character tropes. The character cliches. You got the mean girl, you got the quiet girl, the quiet introverted girl, you've got your main character and her stepbrother and the guy she kind of likes, or the guy she considers a friend that kind of likes her. So it's got kind of those tropes. The music is amazing in it. Everything, all the music in it is off key, just enough for it to not sound bad, but it meshes so well with the game because of how just enough of off key it is. And out of tune just a little bit. So I'm in the middle of that. It's great filler for me. I can play through from one save point, one checkpoint to another in about 7 to 10 minutes probably. So I really enjoy it, and I'll keep you posted on what happens.
Appreciate this stupid fucker with his new motorcycle. Everybody hear that?
No?
Oh, man, that was loud.
Did you hear me drop a fork earlier?
I did.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, you fat son of a bitch. Quit eating
You're
while we're
welcome.
doing the podcast.
What are you eating?
welcome.
Eggs? You eating eggs?
No. I'm eating a waffle and sausage.
Oh, you know what
Of
you
course
should
you are.
do? You should eat... I know how you are about your cereal. You should eat your cereal with a fork. I feel like that would give you the perfect ratio of milk
would you eat it
to
with?
cereal.
I'd
No,
take
I
that
leave it
fork
in
and
the
slam
milk
it in my
too long.
jugular if I tried to eat a bowl of cereal with it. That's a good segue, though, for E3 talk.
Yeah, that makes me want to slam a fork in my jugular.
So I'm going to run through the schedule of E3 2016.
Oh, God, please do. I can't wait.
And then we'll get into the goings-ons. Is Sunday, June 12th, we got EA at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Then we have Bethesda at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Monday, June 13th, we have Xbox, Microsoft at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. We have the PC Gaming Show at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. We have Ubisoft at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and we have Sony at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Those are all on the 13th. Nintendo will not be holding a press conference, and they're only bringing Zelda to the show.
Awesome.
So they're going to stream Zelda all week long. They're talking Zelda. It sounds like if you're really into Nintendo, you could probably watch that and not need to play Zelda.
Yeah.
They're just going to do a playthrough.
They're going to play the whole game, and everybody's gonna be like, what the hell?
Yeah. That sounds like something Nintendo would do. This is what the people want.
But if you watch it all, you get an amiibo.
People don't want internet, they want
Really?
this.
No, that's not true.
Damn, that would have been cool.
Way to tell lies, right? Jeez, you know people are going to be fucking trying to watch that now because they're not going to hear that last part.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, write in. Tell me about it. So now let's get into some predictions.
All right.
E3 is going to happen.
All right?
Yep.
Dan used up his.
Yeah.
Do you want to start? Let's start with the other stuff. Let's start with the stuff that's not Sony and Microsoft.
Okay. Like, what do you guys think EA is going to bring to their private press conference this year that they wouldn't have brought to E3 otherwise?
I don't think there's anything different they wouldn't have brought, but I think you'll see a lot of Mass Effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say.
I
think
expect
they're
that
gonna-
to be
Probably Madden.
Madden. Yeah,
You're
of
going to
course.
see, as far as Mass Effect goes, you're going to see some more gameplay. You're going to get a few more details on the story, probably some art, and you're going to have a better idea of what the game is going to be and how it's going to play, I think.
Yeah.
Is that the star of that show?
I think so. In my head, yes, I think so. Not just because I'm a Mass Effect fan, but because there are other Mass Effect fans out there that have been waiting for this. Just a few months ago, it got pushed back again. But they're constantly throwing out new information on their Twitter feed, and if you're signed up for their membership or whatever, they're constantly throwing out little tidbits and things like that. So I think your Mass Effect fans are pretty diehard into that universe, and they want the information. But I think it's also the largest thing that they really have in the works now, other than, well, no, it's the biggest one. I mean, they've got their yearly sports releases, but yeah, I think Mass Effect is probably the biggest IP or the biggest thing they've got going on right now. So yeah.
I wonder with the Star Wars games how they're going to split that time.
Yeah, I think they'll probably have some kind of Star Wars-esque announcement to go along with Disney shutting down their game studio, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
I don't think it's a new Battlefront title or anything like that. I don't know if it's even a new Star Wars title. But...
Yeah, I do. I think you see the Amy Hennig's Star Wars game.
Mm-hmm. Is she working on that with at DICE? Is that where that's at? EA
no.
DICE?
Are
they're like together on that?
No, she's at Volition or whatever. She's somewhere. I don't know where she's
That's
at.
an EA studio?
Visceral. She's at Visceral.
EA's publishing for them?
I think EA owns Visceral.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she's there. I think you'll see that. I think you'll see Battlefront 2.
You mean Battlefront 4?
Well,
yes, but no.
This generation, right. And they have another one in the works, too, and I think you may even see that there. I think EA is going to be way too Star Wars heavy.
I think Mass Effect and Star Wars are the two things that they have the possibility to bring to the table besides sports titles. But I think if they announce Battlefront 4 this close to Battlefront 3 coming out to mixed reviews, they're going to piss a lot of people off. And maybe that's what they have to do. But if you announce like a full-fledged Battlefront game that also includes, let's say, a single-player campaign that everybody wanted in Part 3,
right,
you've just alienated everybody that spent $60 on your half game. So I think if they do anything that concerns Battlefront, it may be that there is an expansion for, let's say less than 20, or there is a free expansion that comes that adds a single-player campaign that's 15 to 20 hours. Or maybe there is a standalone title, and then maybe they just tease the title credits for Battlefront 4 and throw up, like 2018 underneath of it or something like that. But I think showing off gameplay for a game that's so close to the release of the previous title is a bad idea, especially when it took them like 11 years to get Battlefront 3 out. Like, you can't release another one that fast and expect people to like that.
Well, they have... The reason I think it's a strong possibility that we at least get it announced is because they seem to be trying to get in front of anything that's going to piss people off, because, they had a big article about why this Battlefield that's out now didn't have a story, and the timeline issues they had.
Yeah, but I
just think they're trying to get in front of that because there is an announcement coming.
Yeah, I think getting in front of it with another Battlefront game is not necessarily the same getting in front of it as releasing a story-based Star Wars game, and I think they can spin that appropriately to say, hey, the reason that Battlefront was a $60 game that concentrated on multiplayer is because this is our $60 game that concentrates on story, and then they show off the Amy Hennig title that's coming, right? I think you have to spin that in a way that makes people want to buy both games, right? Because Battlefront 3 is still a relevant title. It's on sale everywhere for like $29 to $39, and they want people to still go out and buy that. And they've almost gotten my money on it several times, so there's no better way to kill whatever scraps are left of making money on that title than to announce another one that's everything that people wanted that one to be, But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think you could be, completely. I think
right.
There's a good chance that you're right. I just think it's a bad idea if you're EA. And what the fuck do I know? I've never worked in video game marketing or research, but I'm the target demographic, and so I just think I think it's a terrible idea.
Of course, on the flip side, it doesn't hurt, and I'm not saying either way which should go, but it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna hurt EA very much to this quickly turn around and give those people what they want, particularly if, say, Battlefront's included with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the new Battlefront that comes out will be what the people want and originally asked for. Because in a lot of ways, Battlefront 3 or Battlefront, whichever, it almost felt like a tech demo to me to see if they could do it.
Yeah,
the way it played and how, and it was very simple, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all, but it didn't feel complete. And
a
year later,
$60.
They may have their chance to, and it's going to depend on what they put in. I mean, if it runs off of the Rogue One, that fanfare, that momentum's already there. I'm afraid that you're probably going to see a Star Wars game once a year when the new movie comes out, because they're going to be coming out every December now. You got to keep that in mind. But I don't know that it's a horrible idea if EA can deliver on what the first game should have been, and if they listen to the fans, listen to the gamers, and made the necessary changes for the positive. I don't know that it's a horrible idea to bring it out.
Yeah, I could agree to that. Now, what do you guys think about this? What do you think about like a full-fledged NASCAR game? That's an EA thing we haven't seen in a while. I love racing and I love NASCAR. That'd be a good thing to announce, right?
There is one coming.
Have they teased it or announced it? I've seen the Forza NASCAR pack.
No, they said they're working on a NASCAR title.
Well,
there's one coming.
But that's
right?
the
star of the show.
NASCAR Heat Evolution.
Yeah, that's the star of the show. They're showing that off, and they're going to show it off with... What? EA's got to come strong with something like that. EA's got to come...
give you some details about it, but
yeah, definitely. I hope it's Ubisoft or somebody. Or Ubisoft, as they say.
Ubi.
Yeah.
Ubi.
Now, here's a thing that kind of sucks for EA. EA's going first. They're going to lead Sony and Microsoft and everybody. Is Sony, and let's say Microsoft can be tossed into this because we don't know what they have, but let's say that EA wants to show off some games that work with PlayStation VR. Do they have the go-ahead to show things off that are going to come out on PSVR before Sony even has a chance to do their press conference?
Some I think they'll show, but I think even if they show them, they won't be as in-depth as they will in Sony's.
No. Because the thing is, you've got to remember, Sony's already announced VR, and they've already shown it. So
right, but they haven't really announced any titles for it.
That's the thing that's out there. And they have said that they have strong third-party development. They've said that in numerous conferences. So I think it's smart for Sony to actually allow some of these other developers to show off some of their tech for VR. Now, are they going to go heavy into it? Probably not. But they're going to give you enough to keep you clamoring and say, wow, VR might be a thing. And then Sony comes on and boom, we've got this. You saw EA did this. You saw Ubisoft did this. You saw, and that's just a momentum carrier. It's just going to follow through. And I think Sony kind of, if these other developers do have those games, I think it's to Sony's benefit to allow them to show them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just go ahead and let them get it out there.
Let them, there's nothing better than selling a product based on momentum that someone else started.
Right.
All right, Dan, or Matt, you're going to appreciate this.
All right, here we go.
Monster Games is who's developing it.
Oh, my God.
In association with Duesenberry Martin Racing, who acquired the NASCAR video game rights in January 2015.
That's a smart move.
Yeah. So,
my God.
You might be thinking, what does Monster know about NASCAR? Well, they did Dirt to Daytona.
Mm-hmm. That was a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Classic PS2 title?
2013,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They also made Donkey Kong Country Returns for the 3DS S, so I don't know who would be more qualified. I mean, they got a NASCAR belt on the game under their belt, and they got Donkey Kong. So.
Right. I don't know if I call that a NASCAR game. Has Daytona in the title?
Dirt to Daytona, bro. You start from the bottom.
Right. You go through the history, of the sport. My God.
We got anything else we're expecting from EA? Or do you think Mass Effect and Star Wars? And
I think that's the big stuff. Yeah,
I think those are definitely the big ones. I think. What is the Eagles Flight? I think you'll see that a little more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think see, that's one of those titles I'm thinking of. Does Sony allow them to announce it as a because it's a VR title, right? Does Sony allow them to like really go into depth and show off their title, or are they expected to save that for Sony's press conference when VR pops up? But I think Dan's right. I think
it was in Sony's a lot more last year, so I think with it's time for EA to talk about it.
Well, I think what Dan said is more on the button that they will let the developers show the title and go into the specs and the tech and all that stuff. And when it comes to the VR presentation, when Sony hops on stage, I think Sony's just going to do like a what do they call those? Like a sizzle reel.
Yeah.
And kind of showcase a couple of games and then kind of mic drop and walk away.
Right, because they don't have to spend they don't have to spend that time or the money developing that conference to show that off because they've got 4 other companies that are doing it for them.
Yeah.
Plus, they want to give the appearance that the developers are behind them.
Right.
Right. And they probably have 1 or 2 big first-party games to show off. So.
All right.
But we're getting into Sony, and we don't mean
let's
to.
Let's talk about Bethesda.
Dude, I have no idea what they're going to do except for come out and boohoo about Paragon numbers. Or
Paragon,
numbers.
I think you'll see a lot
Paragon's the other guys.
Oh, yeah.
Battleborn. Yeah. Boohoo about Battleborn.
No one remembers that game. I think also you'll see a lot of the Fallout mod stuff now that it's hit Xbox.
Yeah.
And it's coming to PS4.
Yeah.
In June or in July?
Yeah, it's like a month or 2 months or something.
Yeah, something weird.
So I think they'll show off a lot about that.
You think they'll talk about how terrible Fallout 4 is?
No, because I don't think they view it that way.
Yeah.
Right. Clearly not.
Nor do most fans.
Right.
And I think they show off Quake.
A new Quake, yeah.
I mean, if you look at what they did with Wolfenstein and now with Doom, they're fucking crushing it with those.
Yeah, with the throwback FPS. Yeah,
dude, they're doing such a good job.
Yeah, there's no reason for them not to pull out Quake.
Yeah, so I think that is their big reveal.
Probably.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess Quake is the. You think they do an arena style Quake or a story style Quake?
See, I don't know because I hear that the multiplayer in Doom is not amazing.
Right,
but
and
the story
Wolfenstein
is incredible.
So
yeah, that's what I've heard too.
So I mean,
they could go pretty. They could go Quake 2 with it, where they have that. Pseudo story. It would be very
and I didn't play it.
Doom-like.
I didn't play it, but apparently Wolfenstein's story was amazing too.
Yeah, Wolfenstein was other than the first 2 hours of the game, it was a very incredible first-person shooter, and I really would like to play Doom. I don't know.
I think it'll have a story element, but for me, I want my Quake to be about multiplayer and about over-the-top multiplayer.
Right, Quake 3 Arena is what I think of immediately when you say Quake. I think of
that's what I spent the most time with, right?
Yeah, but I think that if you're gonna follow in the footsteps of what they've done with Wolfenstein and Doom, Quake 2 is where you have to go. Quake 2
probably the best Quake.
Yeah, I think as far as a solid first-person
not
shooter.
Where I spent the most time, but probably the best Quake. So
yeah, but
I think that's logical.
I'd get pretty pumped if they just came out and showed, some boots running on the ground and then a rocket jump, and then they just popped the Quake symbol on and never put a date or anything with it. I'd be pretty pumped to see Quake.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think rocket jump's the only thing you show for Quake.
Yeah,
you show rocket jump and then the Quake symbol, and this would be Quake 5, right? Because Quake 4 was on Xbox 360. So, but I think you just take it back to Quake. I don't think you give it a number. Yeah. Numbers are fucking done.
Right.
Yeah.
Just call it Quake. I think that's their big announcement. I'm sure they have filler with. They're still supporting the Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah,
yeah, and people expect them to announce an Elder Scrolls game because that's what everybody always expects is for everybody. for Bethesda to always announce the next big thing.
Like they did. Because they did with Fallout. Remember?
Yeah, but I mean, there was a lot of lag in there. Yeah, but I mean,
I hope they don't.
Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 was quite a long time, and Fallout 3 to Skyrim was quite a long time.
So Dishonored will be big there.
Yeah, Dishonored 2 is going to get shown.
Dishonored 2 will get a mention.
But I think Dishonored 2 will be pretty big there. I think that will close with that Quake teaser, but I think Dishonored 2 is going to fill up a lot of time.
Probably.
But I think they got at some point they have to stop with Fallouts and with Elder Scrolls, and they have to go fix the engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to stop making those games, and they have to fix their engine.
The excuse of, well, that's what we expect from Bethesda when we get Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Like, I think that's done on this generation because now that we've seen
it's on the tail end of its acceptance factor.
Speaking of Telltale's got to fucking knock it off too.
Yeah.
Fix your fucking engine before you keep putting games out.
Yeah, before that Batman one comes out for sure. Goddamn. But I mean, we know that it can be done, right? We know that like The Witcher can come out and you can have this huge epic story with this great big open world that isn't so buggy that you can't play it. You know, there are always going to be bugs, there are always going to be things, but you know, Fallout 4 was inexcusable, the amount of bugs and glitches. And
see, it's not the experience I had, but I understand there are some
it was buggy, but it was not broken to me.
Right.
It was not as bad as Skyrim was for me. Skyrim was a broken game. I thought there were portions of it that were unplayable, but it suffered the same gameplay mechanic issues that Skyrim suffered also, of pigeonholing you into playing
a certain way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the problem I will forever have with a game that kind of champions itself as sandbox, do what you want, is as soon as they tell me that I can't do what I want, they've lost me. And Skyrim and Fallout 4 both did that with Fallout, especially with the building the towns and crafting and this, that, and the other. Like, I don't want to play that way, but there are parts of the game where I have to. You know, in Skyrim, I didn't want to use magic, but you have to. So there are. You just can't do that. That's that was the mistake of Fable, and that's Bethesda has really kind of fallen into that same trap. So I think Ryan, you're right. They have to rethink that engine, but they also have to rethink the game. The idea of what makes those games fantastic.
See, that's the one thing I think they do understand.
Yeah,
I think they nail what makes them fun. I don't think the games have evolved, but I think they understand what makes them fun still. I don't know. That one has me curious. I'm not really curious about EA, but I am curious about what Bethesda does. I don't want to watch 45 minutes of Dishonored 2, though.
You think Todd Howard just comes out with his zipper down and his penis out?
And it says like 16 million across it or something?
Right. And then he just walks off and that's it?
I mean, they could do that.
Right.
So let's talk about some of these little small things you might see. A lot of rumors that Red Dead's going to get remastered,
which would be stupid. Why not just make a new Red Dead?
Well, they are. So there's a lot of chatter.
It's right for a remaster.
Yeah, there's a lot of chatter that they're going to remaster it to get people hype for the Red Dead, whatever they decide to call it.
Stupid idea. They didn't have to do that for Grand Theft Auto 5. Why would they have to do it for Red Dead?
Just a rumor that's out there. It's not my decision.
Rockstar
They didn't call
doesn't need
me.
Money.
They didn't call me.
Yeah, Rockstar doesn't need the money of a remaster. If we're going on our theory of last week that you put out a remaster to garner funds to make the next game, Rockstar doesn't need that. They print money. They also don't need any hype for Red Dead because people really only know 3 Rockstar games, and that's Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead, and Bully. And so if they have Manhunt and Midnight Club and stuff like that, but those are the 3 big titles that people want. So they really don't have to make any more interest in that game than already exists. They just have to say that Red Dead 3 is coming out.
I mean, I think they'll do that also.
Yeah, they don't need a remaster. That would be worthless.
Yeah, it's a quick money grab, though.
They don't need money.
That doesn't mean you don't want it.
Grand Theft Auto 5 still sells at full price more than brand new titles that just came out.
Not needing money is not a reason to not take more money.
I'm just saying if that's the reason for making a remaster, there's no reason to make the remaster. If they make a remaster, it's not about money.
Actually, that's probably, in my opinion, doing it just for the money is probably the most honest reason to make a remaster. At least they're being honest. Yeah,
everybody needs more money too.
I think if they're going to do anything with Red Dead to preface Red Dead 3, they need to go back and do a HD remaster of Red Dead Revolver. Redemption's a fine game. It doesn't need to be fixed or remastered, but Revolver had its issues. They need to go back and do something with that.
I think
so. Maybe see a Red Dead collection where Red Dead Revolver is remastered, and then the PS3 Red Dead Redemption is just ported over.
I think
this
gets an announcement with Microsoft too. Like there's some sort of tie-in there, I think, because I just don't see them. I don't see Sony even wanting that on their stage.
Right.
So I think that's whatever Rockstar is going to announce with Red Dead, I think happens on Microsoft stage.
Am I wrong, or have I heard that Rockstar owes Sony a first-party title?
Depends who you talk to. The agent was a first-party game.
Yeah.
That has all but gone dormant, and people say that in the contract it said that they owe them a game.
Yeah.
Like if they couldn't complete that one, they owe them one on the contract. But then I read stories that say that they just broke the contract and paid them.
Which they could do.
Yeah, so who really knows? The one thing I'm positive is if they do, Sony would love to have it, and Rockstar will do it whenever the fuck they want.
Right, because that's what Rockstar does.
Right.
That's
and
their
Sony will
business
wait
model.
for it, because Sony will gladly wait for a game. Apparently they don't put the rush on people over at Sony. So, I don't know. Another one floating around is that Warner Montreal is going to reveal a Suicide Squad game.
Sounds as uninteresting as it probably will be.
Yeah, it's pretty popular one floating around everywhere, so I think you'll see that.
You think it's a movie tie-in title, or you think it's a standalone?
I think it's standalone.
Yeah. It's standalone to tie in with the movie, though.
That would be odd, considering that Suicide Squad hasn't been popular ever as a comic book or as characters or anything, and this movie's the first attention it's ever gotten. It would be very odd to do a Suicide Squad video game.
I mean, it's in a tie-in as it's coming out with the movie, but I don't think it follows the story of the movie.
But to be fair, Warner has been pushing Suicide Squad for even before the announcement. They had that Escape from Arkham.
Assault on Arkham. Yeah, the animated movie. It's fine, but yeah, I own that, and
I do too.
But the thing about Suicide Squad is they are all secondary throwaway characters.
Yes,
every last one of them. There's nothing interesting there.
Deadshot's cool, and everybody knows Harley Quinn. Other than that's about it, probably.
I think what's going to make the movie work is the Joker. I don't think it has much to do with the... Like, who gives a fuck about Captain Boomerang? Let's be honest, right? But I think the reason people are excited about that movie is because they know the Joker's in it.
And
it has nothing to do... Yeah,
and Harley Quinn.
I think it's Harley Quinn and Joker. Nobody has interest in that movie otherwise. I don't think it has anything to do with that. And I think trying to say that a Suicide Squad game would be successful based on its long failing comic book series and its barely hype over a new Joker and Harley Quinn for the first time in a movie, I think that'd be hard to justify to me. So I'm curious to see what they do. I think it would be more interesting just to let Batman video games kind of duck off for a little while. You know? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
just let them lay low.
All I can tell you is just be ready for it now. This is my prediction. It's not E3, but as soon as Suicide Squad comes out and everybody goes sees it, everybody loves Will Smith, so Deadshot is all of a sudden going to be everybody's favorite comic book character.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Calling it right now.
Right.
All right, let's move on. Ubisoft. I think they show off
Assassin's Creed.
I think they don't. I think they don't actually.
There's an Assassin's Creed movie coming out.
So they'll show off the movie a little bit. I don't think they'll show off the game at all.
And I think they may talk about a little bit about where they're at with the Division movie.
I think they'll talk about the Division, the game.
That too. They're going to talk the DLC that they've got coming up for the season pass holders.
I think the Division will get more time than I think is necessary at this press conference. I think it'll get a lot of time.
I'll be all in on that.
I'm sure you will be. Like, I think it will get too much time, and I think that's okay because, you know, they're not going to talk about Assassin's Creed. So Watch Dogs 2 is going to be what I consider their flagship of their show.
Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that's already coming. That was confirmed. So.
Yeah, they finally confirmed that it's coming E3.
Yeah.
So I think that is where the bulk of their show goes. And because Far Cry Primal wasn't a full-fledged Far Cry, I think they do visit where that series is going.
I can see that. I'll tell you this. I think they're going to spend a lot of time on Watch Dogs because of the critical failure that the first Watch Dogs was and did not live up to the hype. I think they really are going to spend a lot of time with it to really point out how they've listened to the fans' complaints and fixed the things that they weren't able to do that they wanted to do in the first one. I think they have to in order to make it a viable game.
But maybe not spending so much time doing that is a good idea too, because they spent so much time talking about how good Watch Dogs 1 was going to be and all these cool things they did with it and showing all these trailers and tech demos. That's where the overhype came from.
I think Watch Dogs 2 is the game people want it to be.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll have to explain it.
Yeah, I think maybe just show a good, 2-minute, 3-minute teaser trailer.
A lot of people felt burned by Watch Dogs.
Oh yeah. And I'm not just a believer in they got it figured out this time, but you look at the jump from Assassin's Creed 1 to 2. Well, like they can do it.
Yeah.
And they have the resources. I mean they're fucking massive. So I think Watch Dogs 2, I think when they show that game off and they show someone play that game, they won't have to explain that we did all the things you wanted us to do because I think it'll be evident in whatever they show off.
I think it's going to be important, too, that now they built this game from the ground up for the PS4 and the Xbox One. They are not splitting a console cycle. I feel like they probably got screwed over there having to find a way to get money for both of them. But they've already worked with the tech. They were one of the pioneers to be working on that tech. So they probably have a leg up on the understanding of it. So I agree that Watch Dogs 2 is probably going to be the game that everyone thought Watch Dogs should be. The problem is I think they've burned so many people that they are going to have to take the time to prove that it's the game they wanted Watch Dogs to be.
How much time?
It's an uphill battle for sure.
How much time do you think they spend on Wildlands?
I'm good at probably about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
So I think that has a pretty prominent spot.
I think Watch Dogs 2 is only going to take up about 10, 15 minutes. But
it may, but I still think it is their meat and potatoes of that show. That is where they're going to shine their spotlight, even if it's the same amount of time as some other things. I think that is. I think that show off was at For Honor. Remember that game got announced last year?
Forgot about For Honor.
Yeah, so I think they show that. I don't know how much they show, but I think they need to show something. I would like to see a new Rayman game. Legends was fucking awesome.
Nintendo, probably.
And then I'm sure we'll get a new Just Dance.
Oh, yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you?
I mean, ideally, I'm sure we'll see. Isn't the new Ghost Recon game, isn't that... that's Wildlands, right? Wetlands.
Yeah, that's Wildlands.
Ideally, I would like to see them concentrate on the new IPs. I would like to see Ghost Recon and For Honor and stuff like that take up most of their show, but you got to go with a sure bet on the sequels. So I think Ubisoft's in a unique situation where their sequel to announce is Watch Dogs 2, and people are so skeptical of that I think Ubisoft might be the only publisher coming out that their new IPs take up more time than their old IPs do. And I think it might be for better.
One that we're kind of leaving out, how much time do they spend on South Park?
How far out is South Park from coming out? What is it, the butthole? What's it called?
Yeah, something
of the sphincter or something.
Yeah.
No, hang on.
Butthole sphincters. I think they spend time on that because that game was way more successful than anybody
anticipated.
And it went through development hell.
Yeah.
So, for everything I've read, this new one is totally, the development has been smooth. Matt and Trey are like involved in every day.
I think if we get anything out of South Park, we get a little bit of gameplay and a release date for it. I don't think they don't need to tease it anymore. I think they just need to tell us, hey, this coming out.
That we have to be ready for Ubisoft to do too is with they're going to be pushing their movie division pretty hard. They finally have the very first footage of the first movie they filmed under that banner. I think they're going to be pushing. I think you're going to see them push it a lot more than you would probably expect, because that is division now, that they are a new division of their company that they are trying to now build momentum for and prop up and show, look, we can do this. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot more about their movies than you anticipated.
Is it time for a new Splinter Cell?
No,
but they had the movie coming out.
What about Driver?
No.
Is that game dead?
We need a Drive Backwards 3 R. That's what we need.
I'd play it again.
Parallel
Lines?
A Drive Backward 4 or Backward 3 or 2.
Wasn't it called Parallel Lines?
No, that was a different one. Wasn't that the one for the PSP?
I don't know.
I
hope that it's dead. Anything else before we move on to the big guys?
No, I think that's it. I think it's a bad move if they show their movies.
I want to see a getaway. That's what I want.
Well, we could talk about that when we talk about Sony. Thanks, Dan.
Who are we starting with, Sony or Microsoft?
Microsoft.
All right. Microsoft, number 2.
Because I just don't think there's as much going on there, at least in my eyes.
Yeah.
All right.
They're going to show off the Scorpio when they're slim.
Right,
Scorpio.
Clearly.
It gets a real name. Slim gets a price and is shown off.
Way too long, probably spent on tech specifications and shit like that nobody at E3 really cares about.
A lot of teraflop talk.
Here's the thing. I'm thinking they're going to talk about Crackdown, but do you think that they will use the new Crackdown as a bundle with the Scorpio or the Slim?
No, I don't think they're going to bundle anything with a new with like an elitist grade system. I don't think they're going to bundle jack shit with it except for like the power cables.
And I don't know if they're going to bundle anything with the Slim. So they just dropped the price of the Xbox One that's out now.
Yep. To what, $299 now?
Yeah,
permanently. So obviously this would appear to be in preparation.
Sony to the punch on that,
right? It's in preparation of the E3 announcement that's coming. But with that being done and those all being bundles, I don't know if you need to bundle the Slim with anything if it's only $50 higher.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think you just put the console out and say, I think even better would be if you could put it out at the same price point, especially if you got the Scorpio coming out on its heels. If there's no difference between the Xbox One and the Xbox Slim other than the profile, release them at the same price point. Maybe bundle the original Xbox Ones with a title, right? Put a downloadable copy of Forza 6 in all of them. The Slim comes out for the same price but with no games. That way, if you want the slimmer profile, you can get it. And then the Scorpio comes out at the $399 price point. And now you've got a way to sell the Slim and the original Xbox One and the Scorpio. Maybe that's the way to do it.
I think they spend a lot of time on the Sea of Thieves, their pirate game. I think they show that off for maybe longer than people want.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe this is where we see a lot of new IPs is with the console.
Yeah, you'll see new IPs, but I think I don't know how much they have to show off. So 2 or 3 new IPs, and then I think they really focus on those things you've seen. But I think they spend a lot of time on Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Because they want to drive home that they have first-party games that are coming out that are awesome, too.
Now, do you think that Microsoft gets the point this year and really focuses on gaming and using their console to game? Or do you think that they keep on with this bullshit about integration with your cell phone and tablet and your Microsoft
I think they'll talk a little bit about that, but
I
do think the emphasis is going to be on games. Because what you're talking about, that integration stuff, those are selling points of that system. But they need to they'll concentrate on the games. That'll be talked about a little bit, just enough to put it in your head that, hey, look what we can do with all your other things that you own. But I think you're mostly going to see them talking about games. But I do think they have to mention it.
See, I'm opposite. I think most of their time will be spent talking about crap. You'll have the Scorpio, you'll have the Slim, you'll have Windows 10 integration, your cloud gaming. They're going to talk about VR support because I think they're trying to get in bed with the Oculus, which is an announcement that'll come out of the Scorpio stuff because it's powerful enough to run an Oculus. They already have a partnership with them.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're already in bed with Oculus. It's just not announced for Xbox.
Right, so they'll have to, I think they'll announce that. Their HoloLens they'll talk about. I think they're going to spend way too much time talking about shit like that and not enough time on games.
Yeah. I think if they had any sense, they would do it the other way around, just looking at where they're at in the race to sell consoles. I think if they looked at, like you said, cloud gaming specifically, if they look at the success that Sony's had with that, which is virtually none, they would drop that from their fucking announcements pronto. Windows 10 integration is a very bad idea. Windows 10 is getting some major flack right now over automatic updates and privacy issues. I think if they want to integrate Windows 10 somehow into the console, that's fine, but they really need to keep that I don't know, I'd make that a selling point at a worldwide press conference at this point.
Keep it on the DL?
Yeah, maybe fix the issues that people are having with Windows 10 right now as far as privacy and support, and then say, oh yeah, hey, since we got Windows 10 up and running the way that everybody loves it, we're going to go ahead and integrate that brand new system into Xbox One. Right now might not be the time to talk about that stuff. I think VR they have to come out with. I think Oculus has to be on the stage.
And I wonder, so the misstep I see them taking with Oculus is that it will be a redesigned system. A redesigned Oculus, a redesigned Rift that
Not
will
just
be
the regular
Xbox
Oculus.
One branded.
Yeah.
But I do think it'll work on the PC. So it will just be a redesign of it. And I think if you have an existing Oculus, it will work. But I think it's a mistake to make one specifically for it.
So do I.
But I think they will. And I think...
and the thing is by saying, really, if Microsoft does brand the Oculus for the Xbox, they're making a huge mistake, because just the fact if they just say, look, Oculus works on Windows 2 or on Xbox as well, the first thing that triggers in your mind is, well, that works on PC and it works on the Xbox. They must be very much alike. Right. That's a selling point with that's built-in marketing. Why fuck with that and turn it into, oh look, this is our Xbox Oculus. It only works on the Xbox. That's stupid. That's stupid. I can see him doing it. You're right, but I think that would be a horrible move.
So I think they'll spend so much time on those that they will hit you with a hardcore, look at all these games we have, and it will seem like it's a lot because it will be all at once.
Just a big sizzle reel for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, whatever next Halo's coming out. You're going to get Gears of War. You're going to get, like I said, Sea of Thieves. Scalebound will be there. They're just Crackdown. They're going to hit you hard and fast. Probably a new Forza with just going to pound it home. But I think it won't actually, if you dissect it, it won't actually be that much.
Yeah, but I think the next podcast that we get to have after we get all these E3 announcements, and we're really looking back on it, I think we'll see that Microsoft is still struggling to keep up with the success and the kind of pop that Sony has.
I think I think it'll be a reaction press conference for Microsoft. It's look at all these things we're doing now, like Sony, look at us.
Right,
and then Sony comes out and goes, "We're not even doing that stuff anymore." That shit was what we did last year.
But just the fact that they need to do that means that if Sony's smart, or that if Microsoft's smart, they're going to focus on the gaming experience.
Yes,
that's why Sony's known. If they're going to compete at Sony at all, they need to put the gaming experience that Sony offers front and center.
Yeah. Sony's going to need to put that front and center too.
Yes.
Yeah. Last year's E3 was not a good press conference for Sony. They had some good game reveals, but there was not a lot to get excited for.
Right.
I just think that, I don't know. The messaging has been absolutely terrible for Microsoft this entire generation. I don't know how long they've been working on the Scorpio, but the fact that Sony's gets leaked before theirs, it still seems like they're still, to this day, reacting to what Sony is doing. Yeah.
They've been doing it since...
They could have been working on it for 2 years, but the problem is that Sony's was announced first.
I mean, they got their price point on their current gen systems down first, so that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, but they did it out of what seemed like a reaction to not selling.
Right, but I mean, getting them down to $299 first
been
matters.
Them since it came out.
Yeah, but no matter what the reason is, getting it to $299 first is what matters.
I don't think that does matter. I don't think anyone's buying either system right now until they find out what the new thing is.
Yeah, until after E3 and they find out, they get more information on what the new things are.
Okay, let's jump to Sony.
Okay, Sony.
So the obvious thing is you'll see the Neo, or PS4K if you're still calling it that. Yeah, you'll see whatever their new system is.
Yep.
And I think they show it. I think they show the system itself off. I think they show what it does. But I actually think this messaging is very quick. I think they hit you with the facts, hit you with the deets, they show it, and then they think they move on. And I think they do that at the very end.
They can't spend too much time talking about how awesome it is and all these specs if they want people to understand that that it is exactly as capable as the PlayStation 4 is.
And the thing is, this actually goes for Microsoft too. They can't spend too much time on these new systems because then the people that already have the PS4 and the Xbox One are feeling shunned.
That's why I think both of them
new
close.
Shit ain't for me.
Well, they don't want to falsely incite a new console cycle.
Right.
I think they close
don't want
with
to.
them.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
so.
I agree
think
with that.
I think Microsoft shows the
Yeah.
Slim up front, but I think both of them close with the new powerful system.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think you open with it, and then as you're going through, you show people that all these games are going to work on both systems.
Well, to be fair, that's not a bad idea either.
No, it isn't. I'm afraid that it will, with Sony especially, if I hear Neo up front and how much better everything is with it, I'm going to start to think, do I have to have Neo for VR? As the conference goes on.
Here's the thing that I think that you're going to be surprised to find out, and I mean this is just me. I think you and a lot of people are going to find out that it's not as different as you think it is, and I think that's the point. I think it shouldn't be different, right? It's for if you have a 4K TV and you want your PlayStation to run your games in 4K. I think that's their sell point because they don't want people to go, this new PlayStation is something that's completely different. Do I have to go buy a new PlayStation 4? Which is what Dan's talking about. They don't want to alienate their existing audience.
I think you're putting too much emphasis on what people think it is. I think that's exactly what people think it is.
But I think Sony's going to come out and go, hey, this isn't what you have the impression that it is.
No, I don't think people have that impression that it's a whole thing.
But I think you have to look at it too,
But I mean, you do simply in saying, and reports that we read in that this is a better PlayStation 4. This is going to run your games, but it's not. It's not that different.
It is a better PlayStation 4, yeah.
But see, and that's the thing that Sony has to get out of people's minds. It's not a better PS4. It's a PS4. And it runs games in 4K.
That
doesn't make it better. No, it doesn't. It means that it will.
No, it makes it better on my 4K TV. It totally does.
Well, it means that it will run your games at 4K resolution on your 4K TV. But a PlayStation 4 will run your 1080p game upscaled on your 4K television also. So it will look better if you're in the minority of people that have a 4K television and you want your games to be in 4K. The PlayStation Neo is for you.
Right.
Otherwise, no one needs to worry about it.
Here's the thing.
It's not an imperative.
Here's the thing. For people who own a 4K TV, yes, it's better. But you have to look at I think you have to look at the big picture coming out of E3 with all of these announcements. Microsoft, Sony, EA, all of them. Yes, us people like us who are extremely into gaming are going to be paying attention to this and paying attention to the details. But what I think you have to factor in, and I think where all these companies have to be careful, are where you've got the news companies that are going to pick and choose and be posting things on the internet. And people are going to be scrolling through, just looking for. I Google PS4. The first thing that comes up, I don't need to see is PS4K is significantly better than PS4.
Right.
You cannot. I understand that all this is for the people that are into it, but there are a lot of people that game that are not hardcore, that are casual, that cannot be ignored from all these announcements. and those people won't be getting these announcements direct like we will be. They'll be picking it up from news sources across the internet, or from tweets, or from a blurb on Facebook. So all of these companies have to be very, very careful about what they are saying, and they have to ensure that those sound bites don't alienate the casual gamers.
Right. They don't want to make it seem like you have to go buy a PS4, but they want to make it sound like you want to go buy a PS4 if you can. Yes. And that's a very thin ice to walk on. That's a very
I think we need
fine
to move on.
line.
We've had this conversation 57 times.
Yeah, but I mean, this is important. This is a false console cycle.
Not, because you don't like it, I do like it, and Dan doesn't care. We've covered it 15 podcasts.
I mean, it's a false console cycle in the middle of a console cycle. Yeah, it's important news.
I'm coming at it from the E3 presentation perspective, though.
Right, and so am I. I think you're absolutely right. I think you hit the nail on the head. They have to not alienate the people that exist as the PlayStation audience. And I think VR is what they're going to focus on more than this console. I think VR is what they have to spend their time on because that's what they have people excited about.
And I think that's why you have the other companies. I think they'll talk about VR, yes, but I think they'll be saved a little bit of time to show off some other things if they were to allow the other companies that go for them, the developers and publishers, to show off their VR first, but which I already said. So,
right. So with that, I mean, kind of what we've been talking about is letting the other companies show off their games. Do you think that the PSVR segment is a sizzle reel, or do you think that they announce like some exclusive titles? Like, do you think No Man's Sky comes out during the Sony press conference as a VR title? Like maybe that's their big thing during their VR portion of their press conference, and maybe that's like the reason for the pushback on No Man's Sky till August was to let VR come out.
As time goes on, I'm starting to think that No Man's Sky doesn't have VR. I don't know that game is in as good a shape as everybody wants it to be.
Yeah, I mean it's been delayed twice.
Yeah, but Hello Games is a very small team. I think it started as like 7 guys, and they're up to 15 or something like that.
Yeah, and it almost feels like they've taken on more than they can chew, and they're doing everything they can now to get it small enough to swallow.
Yeah. Do you think press coverage has made this game bigger than it is?
I think it was announced way too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I think that amped up the pressure on the team, and I think that changed the dynamic of the game. I'm going to get this game, and I'm probably going to enjoy this game, but I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed with it.
Yeah.
A whole lot of people.
I think we've talked about that before.
Right. So I don't think they spend very much time on No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I think they just throw off real quick that as we announced it's been delayed. Maybe they show a quick boom screenshot.
I think they show it in a reel, but I don't think they show the gameplay again. I don't think they need to. Let that game come out.
Yeah. Leave it. Yeah. Don't overhype. Don't let the overhype kill it like Watch Dogs.
Yeah, just let that game come out. It's already overhyped. Just let it come out now.
I think we see. I think you're going to see some blurbs or some clips of Hideo Kojima's newest project.
I think he'll be on stage.
Yeah, he's coming on stage for that.
If Sony's smart, he'll be on stage.
Even if it's for 5 minutes, he's coming out on stage.
He'll come out on stage. He'll say, I don't know how much they'll show. He'll come out. They'll probably have his Kojima Productions behind him on the screen. And he will probably just say that he's excited about their new project. And I don't know that they'll actually show anything.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. You might get the title of the game.
Yeah. But I think he's on stage.
Yeah.
So,
which is about all they need, right?
Just to announce that it's going to be a Sony exclusive title. Yeah, that's all it's going to be.
You're going to see new Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, for the first time.
Yeah, I think it's time to start hyping this game up.
Yeah, we've really only seen the one scene. It did get pushed to next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you see the hard and fast of what this game is.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think that's their game this year. I think Horizon is the game this year for them to really show.
I think we see a new God of War. Some screens leaked about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I think we get a good tease for that. Like maybe we get a small trailer. I think if we're talking about like what do they spend time on pumping up for people to get ready to go buy, I think it's Horizon. And then I think we get some good teasers in the way of God of War, in the way of,
the one that I think they hype up that's going to piss you off is, I think, the Spider-Man game that Sucker Punch is working on.
Yeah, I mean, not 100%.
A lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, let them show it off. I don't give two shits what Sucker Punch is doing. And if they can make a good Spider-Man game, then go for it. Whatever.
I think you're going to get new information about Detroit Become Human.
Yes.
Possibly even a new name.
Yeah, people don't like the name. They can't remember.
They don't like the name.
Yeah, well, it's a stupid name. That's why.
Should they just call that game Detroit?
Why call it Detroit? Call it Become Human.
It's called Detroit because the droids, I think, are made in Detroit, like the way cars were.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What's the guy's name?
David Jaffe? No,
David
not David
Cage.
Jaffe. Cage.
David Cage. Yeah, I think they just got to get him out on stage to.
Oh yeah,
show more about
he's
that.
a very good
on stage.
He's a very good speaker.
Yeah. I think Dreams is going to be there again because I think they have got to sort out what that is for people.
Yeah, I think they need to show people, look,
but it needs to be the game.
They need to give them an idea of what they're getting into. Cause
expect less creation and more gameplay with this because they have to show people what it is.
I think we have seen the game. I think that's the problem.
Well, no, I mean, they said at GDC like they were still working through the single-player campaign, like the actual story missions that would be there, story levels. It's not a campaign, but there's going to be like different levels broken up. I think they have to show that stuff off for you to understand that it's not you popping down trees and opening doors.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with Dreams is that they've not established that it is a game.
Right, so I think that's what they show off. I think they just show off the game side of that.
I'm curious if showing off what. So if they show off that it is a game, are they showing off that this is what you can do in making a game, or are they showing off that this is the game? Like when you put it in, you will play it. Everybody will have this experience.
That's what I think they show off. These are the levels that will be there.
Does that kill the excitement from the creative side of PlayStation fans who wanted it for...
They saw what they wanted already.
Those people already know that that's there.
Yeah, they got what they wanted. I mean, like, because I'm one of those people, I've got more than enough of what I needed on the creation side. Like, now it's time to show how people will play the things I make.
Or how that creation will be implemented. we kind of need to understand that, too.
I mean, I've seen them build stuff live. Like, I got all that down. Like, show me now how people enjoy what I make. I think. I
just need to see. I need to see months more stuff about that game.
Sony Bend has to show off their game.
Jesus. If I have to hear one more year of not seeing a Bend game and all the news sites talking about what the hell is Sony Bend working on, I'm gonna kill myself.
And jump on a plane, fly up to Bend, Oregon, and talk about it. To the guys down there. I mean, I know it takes time, and I'm all for not announcing a game too early. Okay, but it's time. It's not too early anymore.
Yeah.
Been like 5 years, so let's probably do one.
Get her done.
I hope it's a Vita title. I hope it's a Match 3 title.
I hope it's Little Deviants too.
Oh my God!
Little Deviants is free for the next PlayStation Plus too.
Awesome.
We'll talk about those on next week's podcast. So yeah, you got a Vita, you can pick it up finally.
Can't wait to get that.
Sweet.
Rise of the Tomb Raider will be shown off.
Yep.
Yeah.
With all the DLC.
I think they're gonna hit on how it looks better on the PS4 than it does on the PS or on the Xbox 2.
Yeah, they may side by side with the existing version and with their version.
Yep.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, because what I think they won't highlight is that it is also coming out on Xbox One as a definitive also.
Right.
But they want you to buy it on Sony.
Sony wants you to buy it on Sony to prove a point.
Yeah.
Knack 2. This is my lock of the show.
Your lock of the week.
Yeah, this is my hard and fast lock. Knack 2 is shown off. People are fucking confused. That's what I think happens. From a guy that beat Knack. I'm okay with this.
Oh yeah, Knack was fun.
Knack was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Exactly.
This is also
It was a glorified tech demo, which was exactly what I needed as the first game to play on my PS4.
To me, Knack is also the reason that people should understand you don't want a new Crash Bandicoot.
Yes.
You don't want one because it ends up like Knack, and you're like, oh.
It's very similar.
Yeah. But I think you see Knack 2, and I think Knack 2 is dramatically different.
Yeah, I think it has to be. I think it has to get beyond the.
It retains its look, its feel, but I think the game itself will be drastically different.
Yeah.
Last Guardian's got to get a date. It's got to be this year.
Yeah.
It's got to be like the day of the E3 press conference. They've got to do that, and you can go buy it right now.
I don't think they'll do that with this title.
No.
I don't know what you do with this title.
It needs to be no later than October.
It's gotten so bad that I thought, what if they just gave it away on PlayStation Plus?
Yeah, dude. I mean, they're getting to that point.
This game is not going to be very good. I can say that and mean it. Like, I do not think this game is going to be very good.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that, but I think you're right.
You're telling a story that's 10 years old. And storytelling has changed a lot in 10 years for video games.
True.
It's been... Development hell doesn't even sum up what this game has been through. It should have been canceled 7 years ago.
Right.
An interview just came out with the creator where he said that it was actually supposed to be a very quick project because he felt like Shadow of the Colossus and Ico took too long.
Well,
so...
Can you say backwards day?
Right. So I'm going to buy this game, I'm going to play this game, but I don't believe in this game anymore. Like, as it gets closer, it's finally here.
Statement. That's a fair statement.
I'm just turned off by it, but I'm still going to buy it. Still going to play it.
At one point, there was a lot of excitement for this game, and I think that's gone.
I'm overly excited for this game still. I'm probably the last person hanging on to that.
I think people are more excited about the fact that it's coming out than they are excited to play it.
Right. I agree with that, Ryan.
I know that when I popped the seal off that game and put it in my PlayStation 6, that the excitement that I have for what I expect is going to go away very quickly.
What do you even expect at this point?
I feel like you're going to be extremely let down, but...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are your expectations at this point?
I expect it to be quiet and, like, ambient and not all, like, just a peaceful puzzle game is honestly what I expect of it.
I think you get that, then. I think you get that.
Like, because that's what I expected of... That's what the other games are in my memory.
But if they come out now, those other games come out now, I don't think they're successful. They were a time and place.
No, I think both of those games are extremely successful still. They're two of my favorite games of all time, and I think that what made those games special is that the story is ambiguous, and I think that if The Last Guardian can keep that, I think that only the fans of the original two games really give a shit at this point, and I think only a handful of those people will say that this is one of the greatest video game trilogies to ever come out. But I think that the interest of the general populace is only in, like, what is this fucking game that everybody keeps talking about? Like, why is it so hyped? And then those people will buy it and go, this fucking sucks.
I think they'll sell a lot out of curiosity.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have a lot of disappointment out of curiosity also. But
I think even... Like, I expect to be my expectations are to be disappointed.
I think you find that for most everybody who buys it, the people who know about it and the curious ones.
Yeah, I expect to be disappointed, but
I can't wait to just stand still and hear, like, grass and wind. Like, that's my expectation of the game, is to, like, stand still and listen to things happen around me.
But that's why I think it's a time and place. You can get that on a $15 downloadable game now. Like, I think that's why it's very time and place. Like, I think when they were doing that, no one else was.
Yeah, I mean...
The world being alive, like, you really felt it. But I think you feel it in a lot of games now.
It's got that very, like... When Shadow of the Colossus and Ico were coming out, they have a spirit in them that now is what... When you say an indie title, that's what people mean. Mm-hmm. And I think The Last Guardian will still have that, but... I think if you weren't a fan of the original two, you'll have that exact thought. You'll go, this is a $14 game. I've already played something similar to this. And I think if you're a fan of the original two, it'll be everything you wanted it to be. But that's wishful thinking on my end because I've had this game on pre-order since the day it was announced on PS3 originally. So
I think there would be way, way, way too much Call of Duty time in Sony's press conference.
God damn it, probably.
They'll announce their
probably
Infinite Warfare.
full like stage dance with Nelly coming out doing like a rap and stuff.
And
All about Call of Duty.
They'll be hitting pretty big on Destiny.
Destiny, Call of Duty, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Those are going to be on the stage. They're going to take up time that I wish they would show shit that they're making instead.
Yeah.
And I think they closed the show with The Last of Us 2 teaser.
No, absolutely
Teaser?
not.
Yeah.
I think The Last of Us 2 is the downfall of Sony if they actually put that out.
I think that's a little over-exaggerated.
Oh, yeah, it'll sell 1 billion copies. I think you
There's
have
no
to
reason
believe.
to play
I
it.
think you have to believe in Naughty Dog until they give you a reason not to. And
Well, let me ask you this. Do you want to play an Uncharted game where Nate Sully, Elena, Chloe, and Charlie Cutter and all those people are somewhere else in the world and you're playing as different people?
let me change how it's phrased. Would I play that? Yes.
Do you think it'd be successful?
I don't know, but would
All right,
I
well-
play it? Yes. Would I like
that's
to
The
play
Last
that?
of Us 2.
No, but would I play that? Yes.
Right.
And could it be great? Absolutely.
Right. I mean, we started the show talking about The Last of Us, and all of the magic and wonder of the game only exists the first time you play it. A sequel to that game, there's no magic and wonder anymore because you know what the world is. So
I mean, I hope they don't announce this because I think it's a game that they should let go, especially since it wasn't for me.
yeah,
I would rather see Naughty Dog's time go to something new that I haven't played yet because I won't be excited about Last of Us 2.
yeah.
So, I mean, I'm on the same page that I don't want it, but I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's very far at all, though, if they're working on it. I do think they're working on it, but I don't think it's very far along. That's why I think it is a teaser.
And I think that's our E3.
Yeah. I think it's going... So, just to recap, Sony, I think you will see a lot of games. I don't think there will be very much time on...
Peripherals or
PlayStation
or any of
VR
that.
will have lots of games shown off. I don't think they will spend much time on the system itself. And the Neo, I don't think they spend very much time on it either, other than here's what it is, here's what it looks like, have a good E3. Because I think that they spend their time... They've gotten so much bullshit, or not bullshit, so much actual shit because they haven't put any games out.
Right.
They really haven't done much. So I think you see a lot of that. Another huge rumor that I meant to mention is that Hearthstone will get a PS4 treatment. That seems to be like really, really something that's floating around everywhere. Because Hearthstone is giant everywhere, and they seem to, they have a partnership with... I'm drawing a blank now. Warcraft.
Blizzard?
Blizzard, yeah. They have, a relationship with Blizzard, so I think you'll see Hearthstone shown off there, but it will be for everything. I would love to see it come out for Vita, too. People are mad
That
about
makes sense.
Hearthstone. People play the shit out of that thing.
Not
So
me.
I tried it. I liked it better than Gwent.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Loser.
I think Gwent will get a full release, too, by itself. You'll be able to buy Gwent
We'll see.
and just play Gwent.
Like for realsy tournaments, like
Oh,
people go
100%,
and bet
yeah.
real money. People losing fingers over it.
People losing fingers over everything.
It's true.
All right. So we're not going to do any news, but I do want to say those same people, Blizzard, announced that Overwatch had 7 million people playing it.
That's incredible.
So I assume they're talking all platforms, but still, that's pretty good for the time it's been out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get this game.
I'll tell you something it does that's very cool is it does not give a shit about kills or deaths.
Right, it's
And,
team-based. It's
yeah, I
very
think it's-
team and support and
To the point that it
objective-based.
doesn't even show you.
Right.
The only time you'll get called out for sucking is if you happen to be part of the highlight reel at the end, and you're the guy getting killed.
Right.
Because that game does not call you out at any point. It's not about that. And the characters are all super unique, and I don't think the game is ultra deep, but I do think the game is neat. And I do wish it had been $40 and it was something we all picked up the day it came out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've got the 20% off at Best Buy, it is $47, and I think we should all go get it.
I'm probably not going to spend the money on it, but
I'll buy you the $5 worth of Dramamine it'll take for you to be able to play an FPS.
if you buy me the game, I'll play it with you.
God damn, what else do you want?
That's it. Just the game.
A handy?
I'll pass.
It's too much.
Liar.
Too much.
Liar.
Palms are rough, dude, I'm telling you.
I'll play that game one night a week if somebody buys it for me.
That makes it better.
For 2 months.
Okay,
You'll
I'm not
probably
going
never
to.
play
It's
it.
not going to be me, so.
Oh, the offer was there.
Uh,
So, listener mail.
Okay.
Last year, what the fuck? Last week we announced a giveaway. Our Doomsday 2, Doom 2 TOO giveaway. All you had to do was send us a question. So a lot of you not understanding how that works did not send us a question.
yes.
But we got 2 in. 2. It's the first
Which made
question.
your odds pretty damn good, you two.
Yeah, one of you I'm super sorry because you really had a good chance.
Yeah.
So the first question came in from what is this?
Jake.
At Jake _Cost, KOST, in case you want to follow him. Top 3 video games of all time.
Who's going?
I
You
should have
each
prepared
choose
for
a game?
this a little more.
You.
Oh, okay. Metal Gear Solid. Let's...
Wait, so hold on before we start. Are we talking?
Okay.
Are you talking like enjoyment? Are you talking how they changed the gaming industry? Are you talking?
Just for whatever
If
reason,
you-
what your top 3 games of all time are.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
Right.
Doesn't matter
Okay.
why.
Right, no matter what they are, what are
It
your
could just
top
be
3?
the 3 games you've had the most fun with. They don't
Okay.
have to be
Yeah.
good games. You can put fucking Detuned on there if you want to.
Wow. Metal Gear Solid, The Last of Us, and 3 is really hard. Well, Jesus Christ.
Come on, dipshit. Sorry, I wasn't talking to you.
Just go ahead and go with yours, Dan. This podcast is already long. We can come back to Matt.
I know. I got Mass Effect 2, Life is Strange, and Final Fantasy 7.
Super Mario 3, Little Big Planet. I'm struggling with this third one too.
Jesus, you
Yeah.
guys.
All right, I got mine. So,
Okay.
Metal
What
Gear
is it?
Solid, PlayStation 1, The Last of Us, PS3, and StarCraft on PC.
All right.
Tell these Ryan.
Mario 3, Little Big Planet, and Minecraft.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say number 3, very hard for me.
Yeah, very well, because my list is really about 10 games long. It
Third one,
includes a
too.
lot of...
Yeah. Third was
Yeah,
my
so it's
hardest. Number 3 was my hardest one, too.
It's because there's a couple that you can lock in, but that third one, like, you're giving it over other games.
Right. That I know are just as good.
Like, I'm not giving... Like, Mario 3 and Little Big Planet, I'm not putting that above any other game because those are above every other game for me. But that third spot, I'm putting it above something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, good question. Thanks, Jake.
Now, here's. Did you guys base the game period on your enjoyment or different reasons for each one, or
What it meant to me.
Favorite game of all time. My second one, The Last of Us, is I think that game changed storytelling and everybody should play it. And StarCraft is the game that I've probably put more hours into than anything else in my entire life.
So mine was similar to that. Like, Super Mario 3 is the game that if you haven't played, I don't care when you started gaming, you should stop what you're doing right now and go play it. Because it is the reason we sit where we sit right now. Little Big Planet will always be my favorite game, for this, growing up. Super Mario is my heart, but, Little Big Planet was fucking amazing for me. And then I think Minecraft changed. It did what Super Mario did back in the day. For current. Look at all the clones and everything that's come from Minecraft, and not to mention the hundreds and hundreds of hours I put into that game.
All right. Well, I had Mass Effect 2 because it's the best game out of my favorite all-time franchise. I picked Life is Strange, obviously, because of the feels. It's the only game that's ever affected me emotionally and personally and nostalgically that I've ever played. And Final Fantasy VII, because even though I was a gamer before, that was the game that really brought me into the hardcore fold, to where I had to find all the secrets. I want to do everything. I want to get this finished. I love this story. I love everything about this game. And so that's kind of the first game that really folded me over into the hardcore aspect of gaming that I am now.
All right, question number 2. Which of your presenters do you most dislike, and why? Is it Matt? This comes from our friend Brian at _settle_down. Also, I think down has a 0 in it.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't dislike anyone on this show. I would say I butt heads with Matt the most.
Yeah, but that's because we've known each other the longest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I dislike everyone on this show. I would say the one I get along with the best is myself.
I'd say that's true.
All right.
I'd say that. I can back that
up. No, I'm kidding. I get along with everybody on this show.
If you could figure out how to do the show with yourself twice, you would.
Right. No. And by the way, that's how I would live my life. If I could figure out how to clone myself.
Just fucking yourself, blowing yourself.
Everything.
Eating dinner with yourself.
I would be the best lover. I would all that.
Yeah. A gentle, kind lover.
All that.
Right.
Yes. Not. Yep. I would be cooking dinner for myself because I would know exactly what I want to eat. How awesome would that be?
It's true.
Right.
All right, Dan or Matt, you have an answer to this?
Yeah, I mean, I butt heads with everybody, but that doesn't mean I don't like anybody. So that's just, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't do the show if I didn't like the other two guys on the other side of the microphones. So
we grabbed numbers numbers 1 through 2. We threw them in a hat. We mixed them up. We pulled it out, and congratulations at Jake_Cost. You are the winner of Doom 2 on Xbox One Digital. Congrats.
And I'll tweet that to you the day that you're listening to this, and we'll announce you on the Twitter also.
On the Twittersville.
On the Twitterville.
Twitter town. If you have questions, comments, or concerns for the show, write in podcast@gamestitch.com or hit us up on Twitter at @game_stitch. Had you done that this time, you might have won a copy of Doom 2.
Right. Also, if you notice a contest that we've run, we usually put a date on the bottom. If the date's expired, there's no reason to try to get the contest. Just PS. Had a couple people doing that with the Doom 1 giveaway this week. Well, after we had announced the winner, we had some favorites and retweets and follows on that one.
You think they just read like the first line and then stopped?
Right, probably. They just said retweet and follow to get a free copy
probably the
of
same thing.
Doom 1. Right. They didn't go all the way down to the bottom where it said it expires on this date. So.
It happens. It's unfortunate.
Yep.
It is unfortunate, but it does happen. People can't read based off of our first week of that contest. We couldn't get people to do it. Now you got people doing it when it's fucking over.
That's true.
Yeah, how weird.
You guys are stressing me out.
It's time for our newest segment.
It is time
Ryan's
for our
favorite segment. Gets him a semi-chub. He's mentioned that on more than one occasion. This is our Gone But Not Forgotten, where we take a game from our past, bring it into the future for you to understand, know, love, and comprehend, and expect you to now go out and take care of that. No, we just talk about some favorites from our past that were maybe were a little more obscure, a little more unknown, or maybe something that you just forgot about altogether, even though you loved it. So this week it's Ryan's turn.
And my title is all of those things.
Of course. Aren't they always?
It's near and dear to no one's heart anymore.
I'm excited because you didn't tell us what this game was before the
You're
show.
going to reel that down in about 3 seconds.
So now I'm really excited to know what it is.
You're about to be disappointed.
I'm sorry. My pick for this week is The Bouncer on PS2.
Oh.
God damn it.
No, it's not.
Developed by Squaresoft.
Why?
Published by... Because, listen.
I get it. But
No, I don't.
There was
ahead.
something special about The Bouncer when it came out.
you're right. Oh, shit.
It
Was
doesn't
it the
hold up.
tribal tattoos? What was it?
It doesn't look good. But there was something fucking special about The Bouncer. And I went back and I was watching videos for it. And I can't figure out what it was.
Yeah, right. There was
But I know at the time there was something
Everybody's
special
named
about
after
this
a
game, and I felt
car.
like I needed to bring it up because no one else is
Everybody's
going to.
No, that's
Everybody's named after a car. Everybody has girl hair and tribal tattoos.
They all
It
look like
looks
they're straight out of a pop band. Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrible. Scion
So-
and Volt, man, come on.
it's a 2000. It came out in 2000. It's a beat 'em up for PlayStation 2, developed by SquareSoft and Dream Factory, published by Square EA in the U.S. Came out in March 2000 or December 2000 in America.
It looks
Let me
terrible.
tell you what happened. The game tells the story of three bouncers in a fictional city of Edge, on a rescue mission to save their young friend from the Mikado group. I mean, how do you not want to play that?
Yeah.
According
I
to its
don't.
Wikipedia, the game was structured like a playable action movie.
It's true.
Yeah. I think everybody played the bouncer, but I think everyone forgot about it. So that's why I wanted to bring it up.
My God.
I had definitely forgotten about it.
I remember getting the bouncer and being fucking jazzed up to come home and play it.
Why?
5 minutes in, I was like, oh.
The
No, it
only
wasn't,
thing I
though.
remember.
No, probably not that
was-
soon. It was probably about an hour.
Here's what I'm going to tell you about the bouncer. The bouncer was like the order for me. It was kind of short. It wasn't that great, but I enjoyed it. And I can't really explain why.
Yeah,
That's
I
kind of
got
how I felt about the order. It was
I
short.
got real pumped about like odd style choices when this game came out, like tribal tattoos and like.
Well, they were right at the height of their fame then, weren't they? Or just,
Yeah.
just before it. They were like ahead of the
But-
curve.
This game really made them like in my mind. It was like, oh yeah, this could be a thing that I do. Like
Maybe I'll get a tribal back tat.
right, like wallet chains and shit like that. Like it just really made me feel like things that I was into in the 2000s were like justified.
Dan always wanted the back tap from Jade Empire.
I
Get it?
did.
There's no time like the present.
I did. I
You
still
used
do.
to talk about that all the time.
I know. So good.
Fucking Scion and Volt.
Damn.
How
Yeah.
stupid.
So this week's Gone But Not
What's
Forgotten.
the third guy's name?
Let me see. I'll pull it up for you.
I can only remember Scion and Volt.
Story. Characters. Scion, Volt, and KOU.
Oh, whatever his name is.
Ko.
Ku?
Cool.
Didn't this game have this weird thing, like in between levels, it would also give you like the story in text? Like they opted for backstory done in like a write up and not like a cutscene or something stupid like that. There was some dumb thing about this game.
I don't remember that.
There's also Dominique Cross.
Dominique.
Yeah, there was something dumb. Everybody had on cargo pants. Everybody's clothes were too big for their bodies.
Everybody did have on cargo pants. which
That
I
was
can
the
get behind.
style then, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody's hair was
Jinko
in spikes
cargos.
but facing forward.
Yeah. Everybody had like the bangs that went across one eye.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the style, bro?
Volt's last name
Dude,
was Kruger.
It was definitely a game of its time. Like, it doesn't go anywhere beyond the year that it came out.
That's my Gone But
It
Not
played-
Forgotten.
Kind of like Tekken, and you got like...
If Tekken had a story like an adventure mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they spent a lot of time on the fighting, but not a lot of time on how you would do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you should play that. You should not play that game. You should watch that game, and you should try to figure out why I suggested that this week.
Do not play it. Do not play it.
Yeah, it doesn't hold up, for sure.
Yeah, you'd rather jump out in front of a train, I'll tell you now.
Be sure to follow us on social medias. I am at Podcast Ryan. Dan is at Tolhurst2002. And Matt has changed his Twitter.
Yeah.
He has.
I don't know what it is, Matt, so you'll need to tell him.
It's at Goddammit Matt.
Right. So no more at Podcast Matt.
No.
Right. It's very hard to explain to friends and family who want to tweet you or follow you, or just new strangers like, hey, check me out, it's Podcast Matt.
What's your name mean? My name's Matt, I'm on a podcast.
Right. It's just easier
There
to
you
say
go.
God damn it, Matt, because people laugh because they say that to me a lot anyway.
God damn it, man.
And it makes more sense. It's just easier.
You can follow the show at game_stitch on Twitter. Be sure to do that in case we do more giveaways. Giveaways. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's about it.
Always wrap up.
Always wrap up. Good call. Be sure to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen, however you listen. Give us a rating on there. Give us a follow, a like, a thumbs up, stars, rainbows, butterflies, whatever you can give us those things. Helps other people find this podcast. We end each and every episode with a segment we like to call One Final Thing with Uncle Dan. Now remember this week, as soon as this ends, we're going to give you a couple seconds and we're going right into Spoilercast talk for Uncharted.
Yes. So as soon as we're done, you don't want to
don't hang up.
Yeah.
Go
Stay
away.
on the line.
We'll give you that.
We're going to
sweet
close
code
the
word,
show
earmuffs.
out. Then we're going to jump right into Spoilercast.
Yes.
If you haven't beat Uncharted yet, stop listening when we close the show.
Yes.
All right, Dan, go.
This week's gone, or not gone, but not forgotten.
Oh, Jesus.
There you go. There's my one final thing. Now, my one final thing is direct to let you know, just a few seconds ago, minutes ago, both Matt and Ryan gave you bad advice. What they said is always wrap it up. It's bad advice. If you want to have children, don't do that. It won't work.
I was talking about lunch meat. You always want to wrap up your lunch meat.
If you're going to eat it on your sandwich, don't wrap it up.
Oh,
Put
no,
on your
I eat it
sandwich,
right on
not
that
wrapped
bitch
up.
with saran wrap and everything.
That's why I said you gave them bad advice. You also like your cereal to fucking cut the top of your mouth open. So
I bought a box of cereal, not a box of mush.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Maybe you should just eat gravel.
Yeah.
Ricky eats it like you do. She just pours it into a bowl and then gets a spoon and starts eating.
Oh,
I don't do it like that. I have that segmented bowl where I can dip it into the milk.
Why haven't you throat punched her yet?
I love her too much, but the only way the only moisture she wants is a spit in her mouth.
All right. This has been episode 170. Scroll to the top. 78 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. Thanks for being here, guys. We appreciate you.
Yes. Some of you will talk to in a couple seconds.
Yeah, we're literally going to talk to you again in about 4 seconds. Good night.
Good night.
Yep.
Has it been 4 seconds?
It's
Yeah,
close
earmuffs.
enough. Yeah.
Earmuffs.
This is the official Gamestitch Podcast Spoilercast for Uncharted 4. Should I get some Uncharted music?
No,
what?
that's fine.
I'm going to get you some Uncharted music.
Okay.
Sure.
You hear this?
Turn it on now.
I expected something from Uncharted.
That is.
What is it? I can't tell.
I don't know. It's just
It's,
ambient nonsense.
it sounds like jumbled shit.
What about At Sea? Let's listen to At Sea.
What are you listening to? Is that the...
Uncharted soundtrack. Available on
Great. Good way
iTunes.
to
Thanks
get
for
this-
the copyright strike.
Right, we're going to go ahead and get this video pulled from YouTube before we ever get it up.
No, we won't. There's not enough of that there, and no one listens to that soundtrack. We're fine.
That's true, probably.
It's free advertising.
Oh, I 100%
Bruh.
believe that won't get us pulled. If anyone's like, fucking Uncharted soundtrack. They're robot ain't finding that shit. But we're here to talk about Uncharted 4. Everyone finally finished it. By everyone, I mean me.
Yeah.
Because you guys have been finished.
To be fair, we finished it too.
Yeah, but you've been finished.
Yes.
I finally finished it.
What, I finished a week ago? You're not that far behind. Right?
I mean, Matt finished like an hour after it came out.
Well, yeah, I know.
I finished it that day.
But that's because he was going for the speed record run.
Right.
Or speed run record.
I enjoy this, so I want to fucking ruin it.
Right.
I mean, it's not ruined for me. I enjoyed every second of it.
So let's just jump into the story because we're only going to spend 15 or 20 minutes here.
Yeah, sure.
Because on the end of an already long podcast. For everyone that stuck around,
long.
Thanks. We appreciate you. Sorry
Yes.
this is a little delayed. It is kind of my fault.
That's fine.
So it starts a lot like every Uncharted.
Crazy set piece on a boat.
Yes. You feel like it's Uncharted immediately, or at least I did.
Mm-hmm.
But then it takes a significant turn from Uncharted. Slows it down.
Yeah. Kind of gets into Nate and Elena in their everyday life.
It really feels like, to me though, that's where it started to feel like The Last of Us in the storytelling. You could really feel Bruce and
Yeah.
Neil.
It was heartfelt and real.
Yeah, but you could really feel like their influence on that story. It didn't feel like Amy Hennig's story because I don't think she would have slowed it down like that.
Yeah, I think if Amy Hennig had stayed on, it would have been nonstop from the get-go.
Right.
It may have had the same set pieces and world, but I think it would have just gone straight through. Even the kind of the flashbacks to Nate and Sam as kids, it would have been a lot more quickly paced. But they throw the brakes on real fast.
But I like the fast pace, but I actually, those chapters where it slows down are some of my favorite. Chapter 4 is my favorite chapter in the whole game.
Right, with the attic, which is
with the attic scene and like reliving those moments because he wasn't just remembering, so was I.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was incredible. I had a lot of fun up there. Shooting that ping pong gun was fucking awesome.
Yes, it was at the different targets.
Yep. And then you go downstairs and you have what is a really like honest and real moment with Elena.
Mm-hmm. You play a little Crash Bandicoot on the PS1.
You play Crash Bandicoot, which is awesome. So you play Crash Bandicoot twice in this game. Once at the
beginning.
Once at the beginning and once when the epilogue starts.
Yes.
How far did you guys make it?
Like the second level, I think I scored like maybe 7,000 or 8,000. It wasn't much.
I can't even remember. It wasn't very far.
So in the epilogue, it only lets you finish the first level.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you make it to the end of the first level and it stops. And now my first playthrough, when I was with Elena on the couch, I made it nowhere. 3,500 points. Not the same spot all 3 times.
That's about how I did in that first pit. Or the third pit.
No, not the first
where
pit.
Where you got to do the triple jump.
No, the thing that the little half fence.
Okay.
After the pit, I jump and then got hung up on that fucker every time.
Instead of spinning through it.
And all I could think is, I don't want another Crash Bandicoot game.
Right.
Yeah.
But then in the epilogue, I ran through that bitch like it's the only thing I wanted. I fucking destroyed that level, but I did not beat the high score that's posted on there. So I thought it was a cool throwback. You pick up the case too, which looks super real and creepy.
Yeah.
And just hold it and do that Order 1886 thing where you just fucking move it in your hand.
Turn it around, yeah.
That's the thing, dude. That's the rage. Where you just have like a limp wrist and you can hold something.
And you just, and it's just, somehow your prosthetic wrist does the 360. It just spins all the way around. Good stuff. So anyway, you run into your brother.
His name is Samuel.
And turns out he's on the run from a drug czar who broke him out of prison where he's been for the last 15 years.
Yeah. So you come out of your shell of just sitting around because you feel like you got to.
But you don't tell your wife.
But maybe Elena
you tell her
doesn't
you're
understand.
going somewhere else that's a
maybe
lot
she doesn't
safer
understand.
And not the same. She may not.
So I think you needed to understand what was important to Nate right there. Like Nate needed to understand, and this is the way they foreshadowed. Like he's got to understand what's important in his life because he clearly did not make that choice based off of where he was at that moment.
But it's important to note before we even get to this point, it's very, very clear in the undertones of the game that Nate is wistful and nostalgic for his adventuring. and he misses it, and he wants to get back to it.
How did you feel about the underwater scene right there at the beginning, Matt?
I didn't care for it, mostly because I didn't understand that I was in a river until I came up. Now, once I realized I was in a river...
So you thought at any point a shark could come out?
Yeah, I thought it was the ocean the whole time. I was freaking out the whole time.
It did feel like the ocean, because that's the first thought I had when I started underwater. I was like, I bet Matt shit himself.
Yeah, dude, I was not happy. And as soon as I realized that it was a river, I had an easier time with it, but I still did not enjoy it.
There's a lot of water in this game.
Yes.
Yeah, there is, but there's not. I had a harder time with the ocean, the open ocean at the end of the game. So, or the open ocean at the beginning of the game when you get thrown out of the boat and you have to like swim over, and then like when you get into those coves and stuff at the end of the game, right around chapter 12 and 13. I got a hard time with those.
I don't know how you played, but when you played the island, I spent a lot of fucking time in water.
I spent as little time as possible in water. Like I ran the boat ashore trying to get out of the water.
So I should say, I don't know how long it took you guys to play this game. It took me 19 hours to finish the game. Because I spent a lot of time just fucking like swimming around and doing nothing.
I don't know. I'd have to look and see.
Yeah. So I think it took me less than 12.
Yeah, so most people didn't spend the kind of time I did, but I fucking just checked everything out.
Yeah, you probably got just as many trophies or just as many treasures as I did. So
how many did you get?
Oh, I don't know.
Like 12, maybe.
I got 51.
Oh shit. Well, never mind. No, you got more than me.
but I mean, it's a fucking real slow playthrough.
Right.
So
moving on along with.
So the truck scene is probably the biggest like cinematic scene in the game for when you're coming down the hill. The Jeep scene, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
But my problem with that is it had been shown off a whole lot beforehand.
Yes.
You saw the driving downhill portion at E3, and you saw the cable being towed behind the Jeep at PSX last year.
But you didn't see what happened after that.
You didn't. So but I still felt like that scene would have been better had I not seen any of it. Like, because I knew there was multiple paths. I knew they led to the bottom. But if I had never experienced that and was seeing it for the first time, I would really feel like fucking freaked out. I knew, when you're dragging the cable, you're going to hit the thing, like you're going to hit the scaffolding. Like, I knew all that, so that didn't shock me.
Okay, I get that.
I will say I died when I was on the back of the truck quite a few times because I didn't realize I had to pull myself up. I don't know if anybody else had that problem.
I did not.
No.
I ran out of ammo shooting. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And just didn't realize I had to pull myself up. I forget that you could climb up and down the rope a lot.
Yeah.
That rope mechanic, very much.
The jumping from the rope to the walls was probably the clunkiest mechanic in the game for me.
I didn't have any
fell a
problems
lot
with that.
because of that. I don't know if I agree on the truck scene. Like, to me, it was still just as epic. I think that probably the more epic stuff came at the end of the game for me. Like that, I hear a lot of people doing, if they're talking about the game, that the truck scene was kind of the pinnacle of the game for them. That was the big set piece tear down. That was the big action moment. But for me, it wasn't. I thought that once you get to Libertalia was where the game really, like, I thought all those set pieces were huge. I thought of that was
I don't think the truck
incredible.
was like, I agree with you. I don't think the truck was like the end all be all, but I think it was the most action movie sequence in that game. Like, that was the fucking most hard hitting scene for action in that game.
That was the scripted event. Like, that was the plane from Uncharted 3,
Like that seeing Libertalia was amazing, and the size.
Yeah.
And
like the part where you sit down in a chair with Sam and you just
man, that's
talk
incredible.
For a
Where you
second.
pretend
Like,
to drink.
Cool, yeah. Like that was a cool part of the game. But
how do you feel about those things being optional that you could have missed them?
Yeah, I guess so. I thought they were. I mean,
does that bother you?
So, well, here's the thing that The Last of Us did, and you didn't play The Last of Us story, so you may not know this about it. But the optional conversation dialogue that pops up. Like, as soon as I realized Uncharted was taking that same mechanic from Last of Us, I started looking for it.
Yeah, I mean, right. I played enough of The Last of Us to know that was there, but Like, I was talking to Dan about one that he missed.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
When you're in Avery's mansion.
Where they're all sitting around the table?
Where he has a conversation with Elena about working at a fast food place.
Yeah, I missed that one.
She worked at Macho Nacho.
Oh, yeah. And he makes fun of her for working at Macho Nacho.
She says, like, she's saying, like, he was saying something about working for a psychopath, and she said, well, yeah, it sounds like my manager at the Macho Nacho, and he's like, what? And then he's like, what did you expect at a place like Macho Nacho?
Yeah, I remember that. That's right before you get to the part where they're all sitting around the table with the suicide pact.
Right, so it's funny, but I'm like, that sucks if you missed that, because I thought that was interesting dialogue for them to have right then.
Right.
So I like them, but it bothers me that you can miss them, because it means I probably missed some.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a trophy for getting all the optional dialogues, so...
Well, I didn't get it, so obviously I missed some.
Right, but I mean, there's a reason to go back and play it twice to get all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, Last of Us had the same stuff that made you have to play the game twice. And I think one more time through the game is probably not a bad idea before it's one of those things where I'm worn out and don't need to play it again.
Well, the way I played the first time, I don't see me going back.
Right.
See, the way I played the first time, I see that, like, it's replayable.
Well, yeah, I would say for you it is.
I probably won't, but I don't do that.
But you could have two playthroughs in the time that it took me to play it once.
Right, but I mean, I feel like I got a pretty good amount of trophies on that first one, so now I feel like I could probably platinum it or get close to platinuming it on the next run, and then probably grab that platinum trophy if I really wanted to. I feel pretty comfortable in that.
I don't think I want to play that game on Crushing.
All right, so we get to Libertalia.
Libertalia is cool.
Libertalia is cool. By the way, at this point, just a little bit you may have missed here. Elena finds out that Nate has gone off and joins him in rescuing Sam.
Yeah, I feel like
who it turns out is lying.
Yeah, that's one of the big things that I always wanted to talk to you and Ryan about that have been waiting on this spoiler cast for was, did you always, when the game started, I think everybody probably does, and I definitely did, suspected that Sam was a piece of shit no matter what, and that it was all a ploy, right? Mm-hmm. Or that it was all, this piece of shit, he's coming out looking for a handout, he's going to get his brother into trouble with this murderous dude.
But here's the thing.
That's how this game's going to go down.
The way that they directed it and the way that they showed it in a flashback cutscene made you not believe that it was a ploy, that it was a lie. I mean, essentially, that is all a lie right there, and he is. But they show it to you in an actual cutscene. You play it. It's an interactive cutscene.
I never ever trusted Nate or Sam, but I didn't think that was the lie. I mean, they did convince me that was real by doing that.
Like, did you think that Sam was going to double cross the entire time, or did you suspect? I
just thought he was a piece of shit somehow.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I expected a double cross in there. Like, I really expected for whenever he tells Nate that, like, it was all a lie, and that Rafe shows up and is like, oh yeah, this is, we've been working on this together.
Right.
Like, I really expected him to side with Rafe at that point. And that to be, like, the turning point of the game is, like, now Nate has to decide, like, his brother or,
it fast forwards to the end a little bit, but when I found out he had lied, I thought he lied for the money. But as the story goes on, I didn't feel like it was ever about the treasure itself.
Right. Like, he just about wanted him and his brother sharing on this adventure. That's what the point of you playing when they meet that old lady.
Yeah, it's about their mom. It's about everything.
That's Sam's point is that yes, he signed on with Rafe to get him out of jail, but the point was to get Nate and finish their mother's story.
Yeah, it had always been just about finding it. It wasn't about the riches. It was finding it. Like, that's all it was ever about. And so when I found out he lied, I was like, you motherfucker.
Right, but then very quickly you're like, oh man, I get it.
Yeah, like, you get it. Mm-hmm. I don't like Sam still, but I get it.
Yeah, I think after I found out that he had lied to Nate, I think that's when I started liking Sam.
I still didn't like Sam when it finished even. Like
No,
Sam
me
left a
either.
bad taste in my mouth.
I'm with
Because
you,
I feel
Ryan.
like he's the guy that constantly screws you over.
Yep, I'm with you. And he's the guy who is constantly interrupting your life because you're having to bail him out of some sort of trouble.
Yeah.
But I feel like Sam doesn't know that he's doing that. Sam is trying.
Not the
Sam
point.
spent 15 years in prison, not getting to have these adventures with Nate that his brother was getting to have, and Sam's trying to like reconnect with Nate the only way he knows how, which is to have these adventures. He missed all that stuff. Like he missed Nate growing out of that, right? Of the. By the end of Uncharted 3, Nate says, you know what, maybe I do need to settle down and be a family man. Well, Sam comes back and goes, hey man, I missed all of that. Like, don't you want to just do that one more time with me so that we have that memory together? And Nate's like, yeah, actually I do. I love doing that stuff. So to me, like, Sam is as soon as I realized that Sam wasn't there to double cross Nate in a way that was going to get him killed, that's when I realized like how much I actually liked Sam, because he's just a brother.
He's trying to pick up where they left off 15 years ago, because
Right.
time stopped for him.
Yeah, and I can totally empathize with that. Like that's,
But
it makes sense to me.
I didn't.
I still didn't trust him.
My problem with it is if he cares
He's that
about
brother.
his brother.
He's a brother that's great if he lives across the country and stays there.
He never thought about what was best for Nate.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know if if that's was his intention. I don't think that
it was, but I think like that's
Not
the
the
problem
point,
I have
right.
with Sam.
Right, but you have to remember,
always about Sam.
But you have to remember, you've played 3 games with Nate. Like, you've kind of grown up with Nate through this. Sam hasn't. Sam doesn't know that the things that he's asking Nate to do are things that break promises to other people already, right?
Talk about breaking a heart when he picks
Yeah,
Sam over Sully.
So yeah, but I mean, okay, but he doesn't know the history between Nate and Sully. He really doesn't, right? Nate tells him these stories, but he really doesn't know why Sully is important to Nate. That's when they meet. He's like, really, Victor Sullivan? He's a piece of shit. And Nate goes, no, he's actually a really good guy. Like, Sam doesn't know. He didn't have all of that time with those people, and so like I think probably the coolest mechanic in the game is the way that this game makes people who've never played the series and people who have played the series experience the same game in kind of a different way, right? We've all played Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, so we are Nate when we play the game. We're viewing it all from Nate's perspective. We know the history of the characters. We know why Nate shouldn't go on this adventure with Sam. We know all of that. If you've never played Uncharted before and this is the first one you've picked up, you're Sam. You don't know why Nate doesn't want to do this, right? You understand that there's some apprehension, but until the story develops, like, you don't really know that if Nate goes on this adventure that it's going to end his marriage because he made a promise to Elena at the end of the last game that he was done with it, right?
Right.
So for me, when I was playing the game, I had to keep that in mind. Like, if Sam had some motivation, it wasn't malicious, and he wasn't going into it going, man, I'm going to get Nate in trouble. He just didn't know, and he just wanted his brother back.
That doesn't make it right.
Right. I do see what you're saying, though.
I think
Right,
I think
I
it
do too.
I don't think it justifies it, but I think you can empathize with his thought process,
Might give
right?
you a little
You
bit
can-
more understanding. Okay.
Right, you can go, I understand why he did that, for
Right.
better or worse, like, I get it.
And I think this game does a good job showing Nate and Elena's relationship.
It does, yes.
It's not perfect, but at their core, they love each other, and I think that's really clear in this game.
yeah.
As much as she wants to be done with Nate, like, she can't be.
Right.
because
And I will say
she
that-
loves it too.
And I will say that
Yeah.
at the very end, Sam does redeem himself a bit to me.
Yeah, I mean, Sam
At
the
makes
money in the
very
pocket?
last cutscene.
Yeah. They pull a Fast and Furious 2. And then it turns out that Sam and Sully go on adventures together. Like, that's fantastic, right?
But
Sam
managed to scoop up some of the treasure.
Yeah, Fast and
And-
Furious 2. Pockets
Yep.
ain't empty no more.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is the way, though, that it was very fitting when it's, I found this and a bunch of others in my coat pocket. Like, he immediately realizes it's Sam.
It was Sam, yeah.
Yeah.
And I did like that because that's fitting because that's the kind of guy Sam is. Sam doesn't understand how to give back. Like, he doesn't understand how to do things for Nate, but he knew that would matter.
Right.
But it also bothers me that I'm fucking sword fighting Rafe while Sam is scooping up fucking coins.
Well, I mean, he was stuck under a pillar, and he just reached over and grabbed a handful.
I'm fighting
and
for
put
his
them in
goddamn
jacket.
life over here.
Right, but I mean, he just reached over and grabbed some.
He's
it's not like
his
he
pockets
was
up.
What'd you guys think
It's
of
not
the
like he
sword
was
fight,
scooping
the
him
sword
up.
fight mechanic?
I was not smart enough for the sword fighting mechanic.
Were you guys okay with it? Or?
I sucked at it.
I can't think of another way to have ended it. I think the sword fight was great. I think the mechanics for it were fucking weird. I died like 3 times.
I died twice, but I stayed black and white for that whole fucking scene. I didn't get to see it in color.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. For me, the only real problem I had with it was really hard to discern left and right.
Yeah.
As far as where Rafe was coming from.
Yeah.
Well,
with
because
his
he would like rear back over his head, but the slash would come right.
Right.
Like, I don't fucking know what to do. And then I missed that one, and then I'm like, shit, I should have went right. Then I go right, and I missed that one, and now I'm on a fucking like just skid downhill.
Deathbed, bleeding out.
Yeah, because I'm going opposite the fucking opposite the pattern. It's like circle, triangle, circle, and I'm like triangle, circle, triangle.
Yeah, so I did like that. That's how
I thought it was badass. And then we were fighting with two and Avery's sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking incredible because it's the same kind of thing. Like that treasure came between everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wasn't very good at it. Like I said, I don't know what that scene looks like in color.
Yeah.
I did manage to see it in color.
It was great. I really thought that Nate was going to lose Sam at that point. And I was really happy when he didn't.
When he walks away, like when he takes the 3 steps to the corner of the room, like his face tells you that he's about to have to leave his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought just like you, like I thought that was it. I thought that was the thief's end. The thief wasn't Nate, the thief was Sam.
It was Sam.
Right.
Yeah, dude, and I was like ready to cry. It's like, dude, don't make like a brother lose his brother. Like, I can't deal with that in this fucking game.
And his face of like, but you saw that pain on his face. Like, I have a wife, I have, a whole life. I can't sit here and die because it's not going to bring him back, but I can't leave him.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they both come swimming out of that cove, like,
Did you feel like that Independence scene was real anticlimactic right there?
Yeah, a little bit.
She's like, oh my God, and she looks over and they're just hanging out right there.
But it got a cheer out of me. Like, I got excited that that Nate and Sam made it out of there.
See here's how I would have done it. A little cliche. She would have looked over and seen Sam swimming up, and
then Nate
would
was
have
like
thought,
already somewhere else.
Well, I wanted to think like that Nate died trying to get Sam out because he was behind him as those rocks were coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, to give the player that feeling and to see Elena, like, think Nate didn't make it out to save Sam.
Yeah, it would have been a good little, like, quick, on Uncharted 3 where you think Sully dies, like, just a really quick little...
Like, her pull him up and be like, where's Nate? And he's like, I don't know. And her be like, oh, my God. And Nate be like, what's up?
No, it would have been, like, sweet if she would have pulled Sam up and he would have looked at her and said, what are you crying for? And then his head pops up.
Or like, what if they play like a whole prank on her and he's like, I'm sorry, but
I fooled you.
He died saving my life.
Could have been a more Uncharted moment,
right? Because
if they had made it,
it's kind of goofy and fun like that. Nate's a prankster for life.
Yeah, if they'd had that little bit of like her and Sam are there and she's crying and Nate walks up from the other side of her going, what's wrong?
Why are we crying?
Yeah,
and then she pushes him like off the log they're sitting on, and you know, Sully fires up a cigar. It's very Uncharted.
Yeah, it could have been for as nice and clean as and of an ending as that game got, where nobody got hurt and everybody murdered 45 plus people. Like, they really could have done that little Uncharted style joke.
I was just thinking, like, when the rocks came down, I'm like, what if Nate didn't make it out? And then he just died to save him. And then she, like, looks over 30 seconds later, and he's just, they're both there, good to go.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have to wonder at all.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a little bit more build up to whether or not they made it, but they really didn't leave much to the imagination there. And
Let's talk
the
about
epilogue.
that epilogue.
Yeah,
let's just talk about the ending in general.
Okay.
I think we've all discussed it off of here, but what I said last night is I felt like this was an appropriate end to the Uncharted franchise.
Right.
But I did feel like for Uncharted 4, it felt similar to when a show gets canceled without notice and they have to go back and film the last 15 minutes. That's how the end of Uncharted 4 felt. It didn't make sense for the game, but it did make sense for the franchise.
Yeah, I get that feeling, but I feel like they... So here's what I feel like they did, right? They didn't leave me feeling like Sully didn't get to continue with the life that he liked, right? He got Sam. They got to keep going on adventures. Sam got to have all these adventures that he missed out on, right? He gets to go out with Sully, who, they both thought each other were assholes, so they both came around to each other, and, Sully gets a little bit of Nate and Sam gets to have his adventures. Nate and Elena finally settled down. They start that company, and Nate gets to still have adventures, but safely and sanctioned. I think that they did a good job of making me feel like those characters got away happy, but the telling it through the daughter's perspective was a little weird for me.
I like that.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that either.
I like the flash forward. All of a sudden it's 15 years in the future. I get that. That makes sense to me.
And Nate and Elena look no different.
Well, Nate's got gray hair.
Yeah,
and
Nate had gray.
She's a little.
A little bit of gray.
She looks like a
Elena
hot
still
mom,
looked good. Yeah,
so
she still looked good.
Yeah.
But there was just something about the way that it was told through exploring with the kid, like they thought that I didn't know that it was Elena and Nate's kid.
No, I don't see. I think immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew instantly. I'm like, oh, okay, well this turned out well for them, but I almost expected for it to be, all right. So to me, I know this would have left a very bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, but this is what I expected, was for the daughter to see that Sully and Sam were coming back, and Uncle Sam and Uncle Sully, and go out and find her mom, and then find out that Nate had died in a work accident or something like that years earlier. That it wasn't the treasure hunting and adventure that got him, it was the real life that got him.
He died 6 years ago when a cave collapsed.
Right, playing it safe was actually what ended up killing him.
See, and that's the thing, and I feel like you came up with that with some of our original conversations. That's the ending I could have lived with. This ending, the way it ended, let me down compared to the rest of the game. It did not, to me, that ending did not, it stayed true to the franchise. I'm with you on that, Ryan. It stayed true to the franchise. But the way this game was set up and presented, and the clues that it left as it progressed, this ending, to me, feels like lazy writing to get Nate and his life where they wanted it.
Yeah. The way you described it to me was that it wasn't earned. He didn't earn that life at the end.
Yes. There was no real... the whole game made it sound like he was, making this extremely... He missed his old life, but he didn't want to... He had made this promise to his wife, and so then he lied to her and went with his brother to save his brother's life, and the whole game... I said this to Ryan last night. The whole game, Nate's having a good time. You can tell that. You can tell that. And the game never believably brought me to a point where he was no longer having a good time, to the point where he wanted to stop doing it and finally really settle down.
Even with the title, A Thief's End, you just assumed that something would have to end before it stopped. But really what it was is A Thief's Happy Ending.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that story was all the way around a happy ending for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Right. And nothing bad happened to anyone.
I feel like they half-heartedly tried to set up that the daughter might get into adventuring.
I feel like that option is there, but I think so this game will have story DLC the first time.
Yeah.
I think you will play as Sam. Yep, with Sully.
Yeah.
And the banter will be really hardcore because they don't know each other very well.
Yeah.
And this is their first adventure after hanging out, after finally
talking about what
together.
What a loser is, Nate, for going to the the straight and narrow, and those jokes about how Nate's at home watching TV, and
I don't think the daughter's justified in becoming an adventurer if she has Nate to grow up with to tell her not to. Like, there's no mystery of, man, I really wonder what my dad saw in this.
Did that epilogue, did that remind you of
The Last of Us? Yeah.
Ellie in the house?
Yeah.
Or not Ellie.
Sarah.
Sarah in the house.
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminded me of.
It's immediately like what I thought.
Yeah, and they had the little Last of Us comic book teaser poster that everybody thinks is a teaser for the next game, and it had a lot of cool Easter eggs in there. But I don't think it had anything that couldn't have just been a cutscene. I don't think I needed to play through it. It could have just been a. I did feel like there were things that I missed, right? Because I just kind of ate an apple, walked out of the house, and walked over to the guest house.
So you missed the picture of Uncle Sully and Uncle Sam?
No, I picked that up. All the stuff in the kitchen I got.
Go around the back of the house?
No, as soon as I got out of the house, I just walked over to the next one and triggered the next cutscene.
See, I unfortunately made the same mistake because what I thought behind the house was where I was going. And I walked over to the porch of that house just to see what it looked like, and as soon as you walk up, it triggers the cutscene.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then you're in the house.
You really have to explore everything else before you go to it.
I was going to go behind the house and out on the boat dock before I did anything else.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if that house was even something you could go into or if it was just a set piece. And when you walk up to it, it brings you in. But I know you could go behind the house, or at least it looked like you could.
Yeah. So, but, I don't know. I thought it was a good game. I think there was probably a better way to tell the epilogue, but I think all in all it was a good package.
I thought it was a great game.
It was a great experience, great game. It's my only the title of A Thief's End and that epilogue to me did not feel earned. It never felt like Nate deserved it.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. I think you should play it. If you listen to Spoilercast and haven't played it, that's weird.
Sorry.
But I hope that everyone that stuck around did actually finish it and play it. And
tweet to us, game_stitch on Twitter. Let us know what you thought. Write us an email.
Probably
podcast at gamestitch.com because you don't want to be an asshole and ruin it for other people.
Yeah, True. I really want to know what everybody listening thought about the game. So if you had a better ending or if you thought that the game sucked based on how it ended, let us know.
Or just what you want to just tell us what you thought about it. Let us know.
If you like these little fireside chats that we do about games, let us know. If there's something coming out that a couple of us are getting, we can do these if it's something you guys are interested in.
And if you'll play it fast enough.
I'm a fucking grown man.
You know what? Doesn't have to necessarily be something new.
That's true.
Just let us know. Podcast
we could just call them fireside chats. Fireside chat about Last of Us.
Matt will tell you about my thought of fireside chats.
Well,
I wanted to do one for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I like fireside chats.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want to do one about video games or just about chatting.
I want to call something fireside chats.
Right, like back in the 40s or 20s or whenever the hell it was.
A couple guys sitting around a fire talking about something they love.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fireside chats.
We'll do one.
Thanks for sticking with us. We know this is extremely long. Sorry about that.
FDR did the fireside chats over the radio.
Sorry about it being so long, but that's what it takes for us to deliver that hard-hitting content that you like.
Right.
That's right.
We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Good night for the second time.
Yeah, I gotta pee.
Good night squared.
The deuce.
The deuce.